It's the Infinite Podcast. Go tell your friends. It's the Infinite Podcast. My God, it never ends. It's the Infinite Podcast with Rob and
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Project Infinite Podcast, a podcast covering the infinite and ever-expanding multiverse of fandom from movies, comics, TV shows, video games. We got you covered. I'm Rob. I'm here, as always, with Court. Court, how's it going, man?
Doing well. Doing great. Just saw a top 3 Marvel movie of all time.
He's starting
top
early.
Top 5?
He's starting, definitely.
Is it top 10?
It's definitely top 10.
20?
I would say
Is
top 10.
Is it top 36?
It's definitely in the top 36. For sure.
It's in the top 35. Thor Love and Thunder is automatically out.
Is it better than Ant-Man Quantumania?
Yes.
We will answer those questions.
No, it's answered.
We don't know for sure.
We do know. It's a yes.
But yes, this episode is all about the Thunderbolts or the New Avengers, whatever you want to say.
Just spoiled it.
No. They spoiled it themselves.
They did.
So whatever you want to call it, that's what we saw this weekend, or this past week. And yeah, we're going to talk about everything about it. It was... I think everything that it was advertised to be.
It really was.
Which is, we said this, I think we really said this when they released that, like, we're doing an actual film trailer, and we were like, if you're going to do that, you better back it up. And they did. They really did. So we're going to talk about the Thunderbolts, everything involved, writing, directing, characters, all that stuff, because it's definitely, it's one of those ones that, like, I don't feel like we're obligated to talk about. It's like one that, like, I really want to talk about. Right. So I don't think we're going to be at a loss for things to say. But first, we really truthfully don't have much news to talk about. Right. So we were just going to talk about The Last of Us again. Much like we did last season. Right. Where we were just like, might as well just talk about this thing. Right. So episode 3 and 4 have come out since we spoke last. The show continues to be really, really good. Really high quality production. I continue to really enjoy the insertions from the game, not the differentiations, but just the expansions on stuff from the game. That episode 3 in particular, I thought was really good. Because I think it was Neil Druckmann that said it in the post show, because of the nature of the game, the narrative of the game. Like, they never really got the chance to mourn Joel and really show that loss. Like, you get that one little bit where you're in the house with Ellie, but in this you really saw A, the aftermath of Joel's death, B, the aftermath of the attack on Jackson, and how the community kind of rallied together and rebuilt. And then you get this really interesting quandary of valuing the life of one person versus the community, is really what theme kind of emerges out of episode 3, and I thought that was really interesting.
What makes this truthfully a special season of television so far, 4 episodes in, is, you're begging the question, and it's what you play in the game, and it's always my argument when I talk about The Last of Us, right? Especially part 2, is loss sucks. It hurts. It's never good. And nobody ever wants to go through it. However, we all go through it. And I think they're doing a great job accentuating that. Understanding that Ellie's emotional journey that she's going on right now, like, the flow of Joel through Jackson will never be as impactful of his, of what he did to Ellie. And, but it's such a great backdrop to see how this town is affected. Like, that's how important he is. Now multiply that by 100, and that's what that's what Joel meant to her, and that's why it stings so bad. In that episode 3, episode 2 was, it was the episode, and to backfill that with episode 3, and that's the Fallout episode especially, and it did such a great job of understanding this, the through line that people grieve differently. Like, you see Tommy trying to be strong and go forward, and people are complaining that that's not game Tommy. I said, I think he'll get there. Like, I think he's going to break at some point.
I think he's already there.
I do think he's there. I just think he's trying to put up the front that he's not there.
Well, and I think just in the sense, I also mean, I think he's literally there. Yeah. I think we're going to get the reveal that he's been in Seattle. Right. Yep. I think is what's going to happen.
Right. And, I was talking to you about this before, but Isabella Marcet as Dina, you want to talk about bolstering your character from the game. I think Isabella Marcet takes that and just revolutionizes it. She is phenomenal as Dina. And I mean, she plays off the youthful exuberance of which Ellie has as well, too. I think the game, you know, I think there's a bigger level of maturity in the game. I think it's refreshing that they're still, you know, they're 19, 20, however old they are. They're still kids that, like, you feel like they're, like, in that post-teenage stage of their life where they think they have everything figured out. They think they're bulletproof. They think they're invincible. But then the real life stuff starts happening. Like, you know, Dina's pregnant, you know, Ellie's going through this major loss. Dina's also going through this major loss. Like, those things that start happening the older you get and the more you get into adulthood. Like, it's one of these unsung things I don't think people are really realizing. I think they're doing a really great job at. And I mean, the performances are it's just masterful, you know, and to be honest, it all starts with Bella Ramsey and, you know, her leading this and how strong they are. It's incredible. So.
Yeah, I think your point about Isabella Marcet is one that we kind of clocked after the first episode. Yeah. When, like, her first scene, you were like, oh, yep, like, she's going to be, like, the darling of this season, which is great because Dina in the game is well written, but I wouldn't necessarily say she's, like, a standout or, like, this kind of, like, fan favorite character. Whereas Isabella, the way Isabella, I think I said it when we talked about the first two episodes, like, she comes across as this, like, fun-loving, like, lighthearted, like, almost like post-apocalyptic hippie, right? Kind of. Like, she just has this vibe to her that, like, she's a great contrast for Ellie. So I'm curious to see how, like, obviously knowing the story that unfolds between the two of them, I'm curious to see how her character evolves also throughout the rest of the show. But yeah, and then episode 3 also is spearheaded by this, like, town hall meeting, right, where they just, you know, they which again is not something that we see in the game, where the town literally puts up the council votes on this kind of, like, motion to send a party to Jackson to get revenge for Joel's death. Right. They let everyone who wants to speak. And honestly, like, every side makes a good point. Right. You know, I know there was that one woman that spoke where she was like, you know, we all love Joel, like, we love Ellie, but, like, we're still recovering as a community, and, like, you know, we can't send 16, like, what if we get attacked again? Like, what, you know, and then Ellie pipes up with this, you know, I thought it was funny, like, she tries to be measured and she tries to be appeal, but, like, that's not Ellie. No. And, like, everyone kind of realizes that. I think the one part that really was Ellie was when she spoke to Maria, like, kind of directly, when she was like, you are a prosecutor, like, you used to do this. Right. Like, justice is what I want. I don't want revenge, but, like, everyone, the only person that seems to, like, understand Ellie's perspective, funny enough, and I kind of like this insertion, was Seth. You know, I don't know if we can even call him Seth the homophobe anymore. Like, he kind of showed a little something.
Once a homophobe, always a homophobe.
He showed a little something this last episode.
I mean, it's the understanding. The argument is compelling. He said, you know, if we let them do, it's a let them. If we let them do this to us now, they're going to do it to, somebody's going to do it to us again. Like, we have to show the power of Jackson. We have to show how formidable we are. Like, we can't just stand, you know, we let a man like Joel Miller just die for nothing. Like, we have to stand and show that we are, you know, we are Jackson. Like, this, we mean something. And, like, nobody can just walk in here and do whatever they want to us, whether that be the infected or other people.
Shit, I thought he was going with them at one point.
Yeah, he might have. He has that limp now.
I was like, wait. I was like, are we going to get an extra companion here? Is Seth going to die early? Like,
he could have died early.
He's just an added companion? Like, that was I was not expecting that. And then the town votes to strike down the motion, and Ellie's like, well...
Yeah, I'm going.
I'm going myself.
And I'm going out there because I'm an Avenger.
And then they kind of say goodbye to Joel on the way out, and they end up in Seattle. Like, I was really curious. Curious.
Dog, that scene where Ellie goes to Joel's grave. I hate you, Craig Mazin. I hate you.
Yeah, it's funny because you always... The tether of the first part, like, the story is, like, these two are bonding, not just because of the father-daughter relationship, but because they truly are kind of, like, the same type of person. And you're kind of seeing Ellie adopt that. Like, I never really... It's funny, like, there was symbolism in the game that I never really caught until I saw it in live action. Right. And it's the scene where Ellie opens the box. Right. And it's Joel's watch and then his gun, revolver underneath it. And you can really weigh that as, like, the watch represents Joel's humanity, and the gun represents like the person that like he tried not to be but was always drawn to. So like I said, it didn't strike me in the game because like the game obviously forces you to take the revolver because it's like, oh, you unlocked a new weapon, you know what I mean? But in the show, you kind of like take yourself out of it and you look at the actual symbolism there where she bypasses the watch and grabs the revolver because that's the person that she wants to be. That's the person. Even going back to when she first meets Joel in season 1, when he beats the crap out of that Fedra guard, like Ellie's kind of into it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like we're starting to see that darker nature emerge from her. And it's funny, like we're going to talk about the Thunderbolts and we're going to talk about darker natures, but like that's what's happening with Ellie,
Right.
And then, so I mean, episode 3 is great. Obviously we get to Seattle. We get the introduction of the Seraphites briefly. How do you feel about does the Seraphite stuff that they've done so far feel like of those who know, those who don't know?
I wouldn't even take it as that. I think I take it as more of the you're getting the through line of the cycle of violence. Like they're the subtlety is not too subtle. Like because Jeffrey Wright also throws around Isaac throws the line out like we started it. Who started it? I don't care about this BS. Like let's get on with it. Like. That's the truth. Like, who started this? Like, same thing for Ellie, same thing for Abby. Who started this? Like, we can say that Joel started this. We can say that, why were you operating on Ellie in the first place? We can say, what group was that? I always forget.
Which group?
The first group.
The Fireflies.
The Fireflies. Why would the Fireflies be there in the first place? Like, who started this? Like, who started us to get us on the path of violence? Like, on the cycle of violence? Who got us here? So, I wouldn't even take it as that. I just think I take it more as, like, it's a he said, she said game. Like,
I thought it was done really well, too, where...
Oh, my God.
Episode 3 kind of... You're introduced to the Seraphites, which, I mean, you don't know that's what they're called, but, like, we know what they're called. And then they get massacred.
Right.
And you're like, these WLF guys are no good.
Yep.
And then you pivot to episode 4, where you see what the Seraphites have now done in the radio station. And you're like, Jesus Christ.
It's almost like perspective is one of the most important tools in filmmaking. In storytelling. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, they get to Seattle. And then episode 4 has a lot of really impactful moments. Starting with, obviously, the introduction of Jeffrey Wright as Isaac.
I thought you were going to say the introduction of Josh Peck.
Josh Peck, what are you doing here? I saw someone post said Josh Peck in The Last of Us, and then it was that meme of the polar bear in Arlington, Texas. But yeah,
he was the perfect Fedra soldier, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
like this hyperbolic, humorous-ridden, bro, the apocalypse, dude.
Yeah.
Nothing to me.
Like just a giant...
These people think they can do whatever we want.
He's the guy from high school that grew up to go into the military.
You mean John Walker?
Reasons. Kinda.
3-time state champs. Go Bears.
I don't know why he needed to say that. But
they were talking about their childhood teams.
We get Jeffrey Wright, obviously, as Isaac, which is something I know you and I both have been...
Yep.
We've been waiting for this as soon as it was announced that he would be returning. Funny that, people who obviously didn't play the game didn't understand the fact that Jeffrey Wright was already in the game.
Yeah.
They're like, they got Jeffrey Wright to be in a video game? Like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, and it, it just feels good that, the whole time we were going through this process of the season 2 being made, they were like, surely they have to get Jeffrey Wright back as Isaac, right? And then Neil Druckmann was like, yeah, this was, the one casting that, we needed to do.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, of course, I agree, because, as opposed to pretty much every other character from the game, Jeffrey Wright did the mocap for Isaac, so age was never an issue, the look was never an issue, he could just come.
He aged up into playing Isaac, actually.
Yeah, and then obviously he brings his, that unique gravitas that only Jeffrey Wright can bring, and he's incredible. I love that we're getting this much Isaac early, because he's not. Comparatively, he's not in the game a ton. Funny enough, he really only serves as an antagonist to Abby.
Yep.
At a certain point, so it's really fun to see him, and I'm interested that they're introducing him this early when it doesn't feel like we're gonna really see Abby again until maybe the end of the season.
Right.
So I think it's interesting that they are bringing Isaac in to kind of it almost feels like they're bringing Isaac in to make you hate the WLF more.
Sure, yep.
Because I think what I'm thinking is they're gonna eventually drop the other shoe, and that like Abby and Isaac are kind of clashing.
Right. Yep.
And that's when you're gonna be like, oh, like this whole crew isn't like monsters.
No.
Like, and Abby is kind of like you're kind of like introducing Isaac as a way to make Abby a little less extreme.
Right.
Which I think is interesting. Because right now, what you're thinking as a show viewer is like, oh, this WLF group is unhinged.
Yeah.
And they're just all these like hyper violent, just like militaristic people because look who their leader is.
Right.
And then, I'm assuming on the other foot, you're going to see that like Abby is not totally, Abby's, you even see it in the first episode, like Abby's whole reason for joining the WLF was literally to get resources.
Right.
They were never really on board with Isaac's entire mission.
Right.
Obviously they got indoctrinated, you know, because you see that scene later on where he's interrogating the Seraphite and like Isaac's like, you're a cult, and the Seraphite's like, you're a cult.
Yeah, yep. I'm not gonna lie, the line that the Seraphite hit him with, he said, how many of your wolves have left and joined our cause, and how many of us have left to join you? None. When he put his other hand down, he said, I'm about this life.
Yeah, no, I thought all the Isaac stuff was incredible.
It's just backed by Jeffrey Wright. I mean, you're talking about an all-time actor that you get put into the show, and I'm obviously talking about Josh Peck.
Man, yeah, just let Jeffrey Wright cook. Give him a good monologue. Let him cook, literally. Give him a copper pan or whatever the hell he was talking about.
I said, of course it doesn't conduct heat the same way. That was a good Jeffrey Wright impression.
And I'm like, I'm learning.
I am learning. Anytime Jeffrey Wright's on screen talking about something, I am learning about something.
Let me tell you something.
I'm telling you. I said, John. You think John Bernthal's always trying to tell us about something? Jeffrey Wright also tries to tell us about something.
But he don't tell us he's telling you something. He just starts.
He informs you. He doesn't tell you. He informs you. That man is an informative pamphlet.
Yeah, he brought that man out of the van. He said, "Get out of here. Learn something." I'm like, all right. Hanrahan. What's the deal with Hanrahan?
What I think it is, I think she was the like founder of the WLF, and then the WLF took the Fedra resources because they overthrew Fedra, and then Isaac started to rise through the two of them are running it, and I feel like her part of WLF is clashing with Isaac's right now. Like I think that's what the problem is, and Abby probably leans more with Hanrahan, like this, we want to liberate us, like that's what the WLF is like. And, the theme that's going to go with that is they're turning into their oppressors. That's what Isaac's physically turning himself into. He's turning himself back into Fedra without him even knowing. And, the kid that he saved is literally the definition of this.
Yeah, I love that. I love that they kept that kid around to show, like, that indoctrination. Like, what Isaac's kind of become in the years since he betrayed Fedra.
Yep.
And I do wonder if they're going to keep Isaac running in the background of the rest of the season.
Yep.
I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and I wonder, now that we see this side, I hope they give the Scars the same treat. Can I not call them the Scars? Is that a slur?
Yes.
Crap. I hope they give the Seraphites... No, don't cancel me in the Last of Us universe. I hope they give the Seraphites the same treatment, and like I said, I hope that they find, like, they actually do... I want to see the mother. Like, I want to see the inception of what the Seraphites were, because Josh Peck's character was talking about it. He said, and it was 11 years earlier. She was like, I don't know, is some guy handing out some religious crap, like who cares?
Yeah.
And then they turned into the Seraphites.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they were coexisting, like the WLF and the Seraphites were coexisting in Seattle.
R.I.P. the Seraphites. You would have loved Heath Ledger's The Joker.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah, man. And then, I mean, obviously, another, on the flip side of what we get with Isaac, we get with Ellie and Dina, like
Day one.
Yeah, but it's very...
They're doing the game.
They're doing the game.
We were wrong.
We were wrong. They're just going to do the game. But I do feel like it's paced much better than the game was. Because they cut out all the game stuff.
Mm-hmm. Because day one, because it's 3 days split. So day one, episode 4. I'm assuming episode 5...
Well, they're going to I guarantee you they're going to do a whole episode of flashback stuff.
Well, I think episode 4 was day 1. Yeah. Episode 5 will be day 2. Episode 6 will be the flashback plus the Eugene episode.
Yeah.
So they'll probably tie the Eugene episode into whatever when Ellie and Joel go on the astronaut mission. And then episode 7 will be day 3.
Yeah.
And then Abby will, come back, spoilers for if you haven't played the game. This is your time to get out of here. 3, 2, 1. We'll kill Jesse and Tommy will show back up. And then season 3, you flip it.
Yep.
And you literally do exactly what you did in season 2. Just make it from Abby's perspective. So episode 2 of season 3 could still be the same thing, just flip to Abby's perspective. You can do the same exact thing. And then episode 3, day 1, or episode 3 will be the fallout of this at the WLF headquarters. Episode 4, day 1, episode 5, day 2. Episode 6 can be your emotional catharsis, and episode 7 is day 3. And then season 4, essentially, you can do Santa Clara in season 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that feels exactly what they're going to do, because obviously the next episode is Ellie goes to the hospital.
Yep.
Where a big moment unfurls there.
I hate the stalker so much, man.
And then, but in this episode, we get the take on me scene.
I hate you, Craig Mazin.
Which was great. Like, Bella Ramsey did an amazing job.
Oh, yeah.
Doing that.
They're phenomenal as Ellie.
And then, again, to Isabella Marced point, like, her just expressions in that scene, she looked like...
She felt like... You know how good of an actor you need to, like, accentuate falling in love with somebody and express that in a moment? Like, that's a moment.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what falling in love is. It's like a series, or it's one moment that it happens.
Yep. I was just... She's magnetic.
Yeah.
There's no other way to say it. Like, it's amazing. Like, everything... And then we get we get to the WLF radio tower, and that whole, like, that harrowing sequence with what the Seraphites did to those WLF soldiers, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, man. And they used real people for that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
They used stunt people for that to make it look more real. And then, I see the complaints about, like, oh, well, like, in the game, like, the WLF radio tower was this big, like, action sequence where you kill 50 million WLF soldiers. I'm like, that's not practical, like, for a TV show. Like, Ellie can only do so much, in quote-unquote real life from the game. So, like, yeah, like, her killing a couple of WLF soldiers is probably better than her killing 50 of them.
Right.
Because she's not... The game obviously makes it seem like she's, like, this unstoppable killing machine, but that's because it's a video game.
Right.
It's the same way, like, the Uncharted games. Like,
Nathan Drake's a superhero.
He's a superhero. You kill, like, 100 people in, like, every mission.
Right.
So, like, whereas, like, you watch the Uncharted movie and, like, he fights, like, a couple guys.
Right.
Like, throughout the whole movie. Like, you gotta kind of curb your thought there.
Right.
And then cue into the subway sequence, which, again, this crew has mastered these infected encounters.
Not only the infected encounters, it's the production design. I was just having a conversation about the show. It doesn't matter what you get. If you're given something, make the most out of it. And this is the definition of making the most out of what's given. The production design on the show is absurdly good. Like, down to the very last of the last details, it's insane how good it is. Like, that subway looked phenomenal. The WLF headquarters looks phenomenal. Like, it's just insane that this is the level that we're getting. Yeah,
it's wild. And I would really, really strongly encourage everyone who watches these episodes to stay for after the next time on The Last of Us, and stay for, like, the making of the episode, because you see how much work goes into.
Yes.
I think they said they used an abandoned newspaper factory for the subway set, and it's awesome. And then you get a real feel for, like, the infected are these people in, like, these practical outfits.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they just kind of, they CGI in, like, the horde.
Right.
But, like, it's a good amount of extras that they use. And then just the way they shoot these infected scenes, like I said, from the Abby one, where she's being chased through the snow, was wrought with tension.
The whole Jackson sequence.
They've got it. They've got whatever it is, they've nailed it as far as, like, these infected encounters.
You see the terror in the faces like, that's real. That feels like real terror. Like, anytime, like, you see a horde coming, everybody's like, oh my, this is it.
And then, obviously, in the next episode, we're gonna... The spores. The spores from The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Which I like how they are introducing the spores.
It feels like the evolution. Of the... that, like, the through line that the cordyceps are evolving. I love it. It's such an interesting thing, because in a video game, you don't really think about it that way. You just think of it as the things you need to kill.
Well, and in the video game, the spores are in the beginning of the game. Like,
right.
And that's what people were always like, when, game viewers were like, well, what happened? They just changed the infected, but, credit to, like, Craig Mazin when they were like, we're going to hang on to the concept of the spores, and we're going to actually use it as a signal of, and a symbol of evolution.
Right.
Because that's going to be a big part, assumingly, of the next episode when
Nora,
when someone says it's airborne,
right? And
you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you said, it's like an evolution, which I think is really cool,
right? And
that's going to potentially, spoilers, it's going to pave way for what emerges from that hospital, which is something I'm really excited to see how they pull that off. Right. I don't know how.
I think they're going to hold it.
Yes.
And I think next season, Abby's going to... Because you did the bloat... the bloater was technically last season, but you had a one-on-one bloater fight. Mm-hmm. The stalkers were the big addition for this season.
Mm-hmm. You still have the shamblers.
The shamblers, I think you could probably get into this season. Mm-hmm. And then next season, it's the Rat King.
Which...
I am not ready to see that in live action.
I need to see it. I just want to see how they pull it off. With, like, how they...
I think they're going to go practical for it. I don't think they're going to CG it.
Like a
an amorphous suit.
Yeah, like a Spider-Man 2, like how they did Doc Ock with the puppet arms.
They can get multiple people in that suit. That would be insane.
I can see them doing something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just technically, I just want to see it. I just want to see how they're going to pull that off. But yeah, next episode 5, we're going to get the hospital, which is going to be a pretty integral scene where Ellie comes across, like, kind of like Arya Stark style, like she's got the list of names, and we know that Nora is her first target.
Right.
Yeah.
You're Nora from the new Naughty Dog game Intergalactic, aren't you?
Yeah. So I'm just keen to see all that stuff and the continued kind of tension that unfolds from that. Thunderbolts. New Avengers.
We're the Thunderbolts.
What a treat.
Yeah, this is, like I said up top, this is one of my favorite Marvel movies ever. And we're talking about 36 films, 10 TV shows, 3 animated shows, 4 special, whatever it is. This is just a dang good movie. Point blank, period.
Which is just really, really impressive. Because I know when they announced this...
This had the most working against it when they announced this.
Yeah, because it had the why?
Yeah, why are we doing all the super soldiers in one thing?
And they're going to fight the Sentry?
They're all going to die. No, they're fighting depression in this movie.
Yeah, they really flipped this, man, in just a way. Not even flipped it. Maybe this was always... I'm hesitant to say this was always the vision, because I don't necessarily think that it was.
I think Iger got there early enough for them to switch this, because I don't think the original I don't think this is the very, very first thought process of what this movie was going to be. I think this movie would have probably looked and played a lot similarly to Captain America 4. I think that, Iger got there. Iger said, listen, what are people clamoring for? It's kind of what we talked about. Cinema was one of those things. Like, why can't we just do good filmmaking? Like, why can't the directors just cook? Like, why is this such a cardinal sin? You can tell that time was put into this as well, too. This doesn't feel cheap. That was one of the biggest things that I wanted to talk about as well, too. Like, utilizing what you're given. Mm-hmm. And this just feels like new... Somehow this feels like old Marvel. Like, somehow this feels like it belongs in phase 1 or 2. Probably phase 2. This movie kind of fits the feel-wise. Mm-hmm. But this, over anything that I just said... It's just a good movie. Like, this is a good film. Like, this feels like an actual movie. Yeah, like an actual good, heartfelt action movie.
Yeah. Yeah, so Jake Shear steps in and directs this. He is probably best known for directing Beef.
Yep.
Also best known film-wise for directing Paper Towns.
Yep. Good movie.
Great movie. Came out 10 years ago.
Yeah, it did come out 10 years ago.
10 years between his last film and this film, which is remarkable. That he's been away from filmmaking this long as far as movies are concerned. But he did do Beef. He did an episode of Skeleton Crew this year as well. And, apparently he's the one, he signed on in 2022 to direct this movie. And he was hired after his presentation that apparently blew away the executives at Marvel Studios. And for good reason, because he, created this, helped direct this movie that, restored the feeling, I guess. Yeah,
that's the big thing that I want to talk about. It's like, there's that adage, like, movies make you feel something, and I think Marvel had a double try to get that over as well, too, especially after Captain America 4, because, we talked about it, you talk about Quantumanium, you talk about Love and Thunder, and, like, then you get onto the side, you look at Wakanda Forever, you think about Loki, and, like, what's the through line on both of those sides, like, of the pendulum, right? It's when you let the creators cook, when you let them do why they got this, because this is like getting the insane promotion at your job, right? Is to direct a Marvel movie, and then, like, the corporataz of the job is, like, not what you thought. Like, if you let me be me, I will give you the best version of whatever thing I was going to put into this, and that's what this movie understands. Like, you look at, like I said, and Captain America 4 is a much better movie than Quantumania and Thor: Love and Thunder, but production-wise, there's a lot of similarities that Captain America 4 doesn't probably want to be associated with these two movies. But the Thunderbolts lands in that Wakanda. What's Wakanda Forever and Quantumania's biggest difference? There was a director at the helm of one of these, and there was a studio at the helm of the other one. What's the difference between Thor: Love and Thunder and Loki? There was a creative team at the top of it, and there was the corporataz at the the half of it.
We could argue Thor: Love and Thunder was a bad example of
Sure, you really can. And it's like, and I'll go back to the studio. It's what the studio allowed to happen once they knew what was going on. Like, the studio said, well, who cares? Like,
it was a director, in Thor: Love and Thunder's case, a director that clearly, for whatever reason, just stopped caring.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, because I heard, like, their kids were on set, which is fine, like, who cares? But, like, you can tell, like, Thor: Love and Thunder was like this, it was like this amorphous, like, look, we're just chilling. Like, we got $300 million from the studio.
Yeah.
We can shoot whatever we want, joke around, have fun, who cares?
Whereas this, it almost felt like, it felt like with this movie that, like, everyone involved had, like, including, like, the cast, had this, not chip on their shoulder, but, like, almost, it is kind of like analogous to, like, the characters in the movie. Like, shit, we got nothing to lose.
Yes, we do. There's nothing, like, who cares? Like
let's just make a movie.
Yeah, like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? We play like Captain America 4? That's the worst that can happen? The best that can happen is what happened. Like, there's some people, including myself, that think this is top 5 to 3 MCU movie that's ever come out. The creative forefront. And, like, let's pit this for the Eternals, right? Like, I really like the Eternals. I understand a lot of the criticisms of the Eternals. Those criticisms come from what I feel was the studio stepped in on Chloe Zhao. If Chloe Zhao would have made that movie this year, it would have played the exact way she wanted it to play. I'm telling you right now. This feels like and this movie's not, like, void of it. Sorry. This movie's not void of the studio probably stepping in and Feige stepping in and say, we need to get certain things moving. Like, This movie's not perfect. There's no MCU movie that's perfect. Like, there's a handful of movies of all time that are perfect. You know what I mean? But I think what this movie gets right is Jake Schreier said, like you said about his pitch, like, clear vision, and the studio said, go ahead. Like, you want to talk Andor and what they're doing? I mean, the last, episode 8 of Andor is a 9.9 on IMDb right now. What's the difference between Andor and The Acolyte? Like, one, the studio themselves said, go ahead, Tony Gilroy, do whatever you want. I feel like on The Acolyte, they kind of let them do it, and then the studio said, well, this needs to be here, and then this needs to be here, but just remember that needs to be here and fit it into there. Yeah, and I mean, clearly for this too, I mean, there's a clear what the studio wanted by the end of this, and it's the new Avengers stuff. Clearly that was the
the studio direction.
But it doesn't feel forced.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Yeah, but
this, like I said, this feels like old Marvel where it actually mattered.
Yeah, this is the best example too of building upon stuff that you already used, and not in the sense. And you know what? I think this movie does honestly what probably not maybe should have always happened with the TV show tie-ins, but I think a lot of people are going to see this movie not having seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then they see John Walker and they're like, shit, let me go back and watch his kind of like origin now.
Yep, you're going to get to Yelena and you're going to be like, I need to watch Black Widow now.
Yeah.
And for Red Guardian as well too, like I need to watch, like you get Ghost, like maybe I will watch Ant-Man 2 and just see her, get more of her.
Yeah. So I think this movie works on that. I was really curious to see how this movie would differentiate itself from Guardians of the Galaxy and from the Suicide Squad, and I think it did. I think this movie works differently than both of those movies.
I mean, it's thematics, and I think this, and I'm going to talk about it at the end, but it's the number one thing this movie gets right is I don't think I've ever seen a theme this realized in an MCU movie before. Like, I've never seen a theme as strong as this and as realized as this, and it's not usurped by like the action or like the set pieces or I'm not talking about like the character work. I mean like the actual characters that you're pulling from. Like I don't think I've ever had a Marvel movie, maybe Guardians 3, maybe Wakanda Forever, or like just off the bat ones that I can think right now, like that this theme is this freaking strong all the way through. Like I haven't seen work like that on this front. Maybe Loki kind of infringes on that, but I think Wakanda Forever's touch on loss, maybe WandaVision gets there. But like, obviously WandaVision, like, they don't usurp it by the end of the show, but it is a Disney Plus show at the end of the show, the show's run.
Yeah.
But this one, it's strong, it's potent, like, and you feel it. Like, you want to talk Guardians 1 feel? Like, this one, you thematically feel it. Yeah. Especially by the end as well, too.
And it's buoyed by, I mean, we can just kind of run through the cast right now. I guess we just start at the top with Florence Pugh, who was being pretty, in the early reviews of this movie, was being lauded for her performance, and now that we've seen it, she's incredible in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we really want to get into it, like, to be hyperbolic, this is a top 5 performance in the MCU's entire run. Like, for a singular movie.
I would have to think about it, but just off rip.
Yeah, I mean, for a singular film, you want to talk performances. Like, I mean, I think me and you will both die on the hill that Letitia Wright in Wakanda Forever is one of the best performances that we've ever gotten, and people take it for granted every day of how incredible that was. You're probably... I mean, Wanda in WandaVision. You want to talk Elizabeth Olsen in WandaVision gets up there.
It's tough because I want to talk about. It's the only thing that knocks against it is it's a voice performance. But Bradley Cooper in Guardians 3,
I'm gonna count it because the impact. I'll count it. I can probably give you specifically Chris Evans, and funny enough, it's in Civil War. He probably gives his best performance in Civil War.
Yeah, and this is right up there.
Yeah, you talk about, filling every bucket of what acting is, like, and then her accentuating that theme. That, like, I can't stress enough, and, we'll talk about it, like, how incredible this theme is in this movie, and how strong it is. And, going to the next person we got to talk about is Lewis Pullman as Bob, which we find out is Robert Reynolds, who we find out is the Golden Guardian of Good. He has the power of 1,000 exploding suns. I should have done that in a 1930s voice.
Originally,
the Golden Guardian of Good.
Originally supposed to be Stephen Yeun, who could not.
I think the strikes threw off his schedule.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to play the Sentry, but it's one of those like you win either way, but you really won because it was Lewis Pullman. Like I think Real Rejects made an incredible point. Like, they said, like, we've seen Lewis Pullman and stuff, and Lewis Pullman's been fun and good and stuff, but this is the first time he's really gotten to chew on something. Like, he's really got to, like, actually cook himself. And, like, I want to see what he is as, like, a front man. And, like, there's this everyman thing. I don't even want to say everyman. It's, like, this every, like, young man thing to him. Like, there's something familiar about him that I really appreciate.
But you know what is crazy about that, too? Like, he does that part, but then when... spoiler alert, light spoilers, when he becomes the Sentry, he still feels super heroic.
Yes, and I think they do a good job at understanding, like, for him, his heroic nature comes like from my point about the everyman. Like he's just like, I want to be good because it's okay to be good. Like that simple thing, like that's the simple Superman thing. Like I'm good to just be good. Like that's Bob. Bob, like he just wants to be like a good guy. Like he wants to be like Bob's whole thing is he wants to be someone. And I mean, you go down the list and you want to go to somebody that like the injection of energy. It's David Harbour is Red Guardian, and you know. There was this line that he had to teeter.
Yes.
This whole movie of being grating and like that MCU humor that some people hate, goofy, but then like it's Florence Pugh pulling him out of that really gets him there. Like
I was extremely surprised in a good way at how and I shouldn't be surprised because David Harbour is an incredible actor, but at how he was able to oscillate between those two mediums, sometimes within the same confines of
the same scene.
We'll talk about, you know, specific moments, but like that scene with him and Yelena after the confrontation with Sentry, where she kind of like breaks down and she's like, I'm all alone. And like, you see him, like, it's like him as the character also knows when to.
Yes. Yep. Be dad. Yes. Like, be dad. Like, I'm here. Like, talk to me. I'm here.
And I was really surprised by, and that goes as testament to the writing, that they knew when to pull back from the humor.
Right.
And
it's something that James Gunn really got with the Guardians as well, too. Like, especially when you get to Guardians 3, it's like disgustingly insane how good he gets at it.
Yeah, and let him be.
But people are concerned that James Gunn has a Superman movie.
And let him be Alexei and let him be Yelena's father instead of him being like the big. You really get to see it with all of them, but really with him, you really see that the Red Guardian is his mask.
Right.
You know, much like all of these characters kind of wear their alter egos as masks for what they're going through. Which, you know, it's funny how we can jump from character to character to character because they all have the same through line.
Right.
Which brings us to Wyatt Russell, which is, I think, going into this movie, you and I were both kind of excited to see what, because that felt like out of all these characters, because we spent the most screen time with John Walker because of the nature of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That was the character that felt like he had the most to chew on. Right. And he was great in this movie.
What John brings, what Wyatt Russell brings, first of all, he brings the puff chest, like, he brings what you have in your mind is like, not Steve Rogers as Captain America. Like, if you were to tell somebody to be Captain America, like, I love his misunderstanding of it and how
he still has kept it.
Right.
From Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Right. Like, all that experience that he had in that, and he doesn't really get it still, but he gets it enough that he's like, I think he finally realizes I'm never going to be Captain America, but I'm John Walker.
You want to talk about contrast between two things? Remember what Ant-Man and the Wasp did with Scott Lang in that movie? Where, like, this was his second outage as the character?
Yeah.
And, like, they took him and they kind of turned him... This movie could have done the same thing with John, where he was the joke Captain America.
And it felt like there were moments, especially in the beginning of the movie, where it felt like that's maybe where it was going.
Right.
But then it doesn't.
You know who he is to them? He's the big brother to them. Like, he's the brash big brother that always puffs their chest and, like, bullies everybody, but it, you know, God forbid somebody talk to them the wrong way. And it's this little moment, you know, spoilers for the movie, there's this little moment where he's calling him Bobby the whole movie, and then he sees, once they get into, you know, Bob's shame room and they see his father used to call him Bobby, he stops calling him Bobby, he starts calling him Bob again. Like, that's the guy that you kind of want protecting you in the end of the day. Like, that guy will keep you once he understands the mission, like, that's his mission, and his mission is them. Like,
yeah, there's that moment. There's also the moment in the beginning, in the first act, when they're escaping the bunker, and Yelena's, like, yelling at him, like, I told you to wait, and he's like, I did wait. Right. Like, I waited as long as...
I followed your orders. Like, I followed orders.
And it's, like, one of those things that also is not a great call. I guess it is kind of a callback to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where, like, John operates best when he's with somebody.
Yes.
When he's not left to his own devices, because then that's when kind of, like, the darkness takes over him. Like, you know, when he's by himself, like, when he makes the biggest he doesn't see it as a mistake, but like when he makes the biggest transgression of his entire life, he was by himself, and he was angry, and he was sad.
Well, you see the trigger flip in him. Like, I love that little bit where, the plan, they're trying to escape the facility, and John's waiting, and he's like, fine, I'll do it myself, and he, like, ramps, and he's just, like, he starts to go insane. Like, that's the dark half of John Walker. Like, dark halves bring about complexity to character. So, it's not the fact that he's not Steve Rogers, it's the fact that he is John Walker. And, like, John Walker's a good soldier. Mm-hmm. He's an okay man, but he'll get the job done. That's his first and foremost priority is the job. Like, that is who John Walker is.
Yeah. And then we can segue that right into Ghost. Mm-hmm. Right into Hannah John Kamen as Ava Starr, which, again, another kind of character. Again, this whole movie is littered with characters where you're like, why are these characters on my screen again? Mm-hmm. But, man, she's great. And she... more so than any of these other characters, up until maybe like halfway through the movie, you don't really know if she's on board.
Right.
Or if she's like with them. She's kind of like, to make the Guardians like analogy, she's kind of like Gamora.
Yeah. She's allegory is a funny thing. She's not only clinging on to life itself, like keeping herself tethered to this, like they're the reason she was alone her whole life. Like she was alone, like she was trapped in like, she found out her purpose was people. Like, she found out her purpose was this team. It's what Red Guardian always says, like, it's the team. Like, you need to keep this team together. This is where the light is. The light is in you being with other people. That's how you stay here. That's how you stay, that's how you stay sane. That's how you stay okay. That's how you keep pushing forward. And, like, to get to Bob and Yelena at the end of the movie, like, that's how you keep going. It's people. Like, people help you keep going.
And when you talk about a clear understanding of, like, just physical capacity, like, the stuff that they do with Ghost in this movie is incredibly cool.
We can move into the action in this movie. This is some of the...
I do want to talk about Bucky before we...
Oh, I forgot Bucky!
Perfectly deployed in this movie.
Yeah, I heard some people complaining about Bucky's complexities, and, I brought up this point, and I'm going to stick true to this point. This is Bucky's first foray to being Captain America. Like, this is it. Like... you're leading the Avengers. Like, this is it. You're leading this team. And, like, I love how, who doesn't need like, I've seen this all the time, that, like, I didn't get enough out of Ghost. We did get it. We got all of it in Ant-Man and the Wasp. She didn't need the shade room. We saw her shame room. Like, we saw her being experimented on as a kid and her deployment by S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, Bucky, same thing. We've seen it for how many years? Since 2010. We've seen it for 15 years. Bucky's dark traumas and he even makes a joke about it. He's like, my life was great, guys. I'm good. I saw nothing in here. I'm good.
Yeah, but I also, Bucky is the perfect character for the theme of this movie. Because he's the one out of all of these characters that has not solved it, but he's gone through this.
Yeah.
He's gone through exactly what all of them are going through now, and he's come out the other side of it. So, like, he's the perfect one to kind of steer them and be kind of like the bigger brother figure to all of them.
Yes.
Because he's like, I've battled my darkness, and now look where I am. Like, so he was the perfect character to put... established kind of character.
He also, you're telling them you don't need to be this. Like, this thing that you guys think that you are, you don't need to be that darkness. You don't need to be somebody's weapon. Like, I'm double looking at you, Walker. You don't have to be somebody, and because, Walker kind of talks to him, like, when he has them tied up, and he kind of says, like, Bucky, you know me. He's like, look at you. Like, dog, you're the person that your wife left. Like, why do you why do you think that is? Like, look at you. Like, you're somebody's weapon that goes to execute orders. Like, you're not a human being right now. Like, you need to be.
You're me.
You're me. You're me a little bit ago. Like, this is where I am now. So I'm super intrigued to see what they do with John. My fear is that I have this fear because, like, I think they did I think Schreier did such a great job with John Walker as the post of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Just watching the post-credit scene that the Russos did, I hope they don't take John's character and just turn him into a joke. That's one of my fears, because it's that, like, grunt he has as John, like, especially throughout this movie. He doesn't lose it. Like, he has that little, like, his first mindset is, like, Valentina said, I'm gonna kill her. Like, that's him. He's the quick execution move.
Yeah.
R.I.P. John Walker. You would have loved the Punisher.
He is, yeah, I mean, he talks about his military background extensively. Like, he's gonna find the best solution to a problem.
Yeah.
You know, for better or for worse. Taskmaster. What else can you say?
Yeah. I love the scene at the end of the movie where she came back and she said, just kidding, she died within the first 10 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, so not much out of Taskmaster.
She has an American accent for some odd reason.
Does some cool stuff.
Yeah, the fight scene, though, and that's such a great flex. Like, that's the second action sequence in the movie. It was an insane flex. Like, Schreier out of the gate, that opening action sequence where I'm gonna dive into that scene specifically because it gets the theme of this movie down visual. Like, that's some of the best visual storytelling I've seen out of the MCU. But that second action sequence when, you know, they're all fighting each other, it's perfectly executed.
Yeah, I mean, you see literally what they're all capable of, what their skill sets are.
Right.
It's great. You know, it's unfortunate that Taskmaster was a casualty of just...
The internet?
And just, I think, just a different direction.
And fear.
For the movie. And they just had to find a way to get her out.
Yeah.
And they got her out.
I loved because Schreier talked about like earlier drafts had Taskmaster like having memory loss issues. So like she really clings to John and like they become buddies. And then every once in a while she tries to kill him because she forgets. We couldn't have added 20 minutes to this movie and done something like that. Yeah,
probably. But I mean, they don't totally play it off as like she was this disposable. Like there is a couple lines like, especially at the end, like throughout the movie, where I forget who it is. I think it's John says something about her, and Yelena's like, "Don't." Like,
yeah, you don't know her. Like, you don't know what she's been through.
Yeah, and then I think Yelena has the conversation. I think it's with Ghost later on, where she was like, "Yeah, she had a really fucked up life.
Yeah,
like you know, like it sucks that she kind of went." So I feel like they handled it the best way they could have.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be the worst thing that can happen to all of them. Like that's how it's supposed to play it. Like this could be us. Like we could be wasted as nothing, or we can be something together.
And boy, do they become something.
Yeah, they do.
So I guess
the Westchester Valley Thunderbolts, sponsored by Shane's Tire. Shane.
So I guess. You know, I don't know if you have any final non-spoiler thoughts before we kind of dig into...
No, I mean, I get, like, the last non-spoiler thing...
JLD is great in this movie.
Yeah, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, like, she's, like, this perfect antithesis to, like, all the values that Nick Fury holds. She's literally the inverse of Nick Fury to the best of her ability. I love it.
She's just a great classic...
Yeah, mustache twirling, like...
You just want to wring her little neck.
Yeah.
And she just always has a way out.
Yep.
You always think like she's gonna get her comeuppance, and she just slithers out of it at the last second. You're like, but she's great in this.
Yep.
As like again, like the mustache twirling, I think it's been a while since we've had like a classic mustache
that doesn't die.
Yeah, because you know, and she doesn't. It's not the same as like say like Kingpin, where like he has the physicality to back up any situation he gets put in, where like her, like she has to like manipulate situations,
right?
And she's doing that the entire movie,
and she's also hilarious. Well, she's
funny, yeah. She's just charming and great,
yeah.
And you just like I said, every moment she does something, you want someone to just get her,
right? Like
when she's manipulating Bob in the little hospital room, you just want him to get her. And he does.
Yeah.
And he does get her, which is great. Like when she does that whole bit when she's like, "You have to listen to me," and he goes, "Why?" And you're like,
"Uh-oh."
Gulp. God feels no pain.
Huh? Oh no, the Sentry's becoming self-aware.
So I mean, all in all, this movie was a really fun ride. I hope the word of mouth helps it. Because the box office returns have been a little underwhelming.
Had a good Tuesday bounce back,
which is good, which shows that people are going out and seeing it because they understand that it's not just another Marvel movie. You know what I mean? Like, no, this one is actually high quality and well made.
Yes.
And, you know, finally a post-credit scene that actually ties into the next movie.
Yep.
We're finally back to doing that instead of doing here's Hercules for some reason.
Brett Goldstein, what are you doing here? Make Hercules Thor's love interest in the next movie. Don't be coward. Don't do what Fast 10 did and not make Jason Momoa and
don't
Alan
think
Richardson.
we're ever seeing Hercules again.
No, don't say that. Are we ever going to see Eros again?
No.
Pip the Troll?
So no. So we're finally back. We're finally back to doing post-credit scenes that just show you what the next movie is. It's been a while since we've done one of those, but we're finally doing that again. We'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, so hopefully this movie continues to do well, because you know me, rooting for big mega corporations is my bag. So I hope this movie...
I'm the indie guy.
I hope this movie does well.
This is an A24 Marvel movie.
It is. They marketed it as such.
They did the absolute cinema trailer. They said, we're doing an A24 movie. And they were right. Do you want to go through the personnel?
Sure.
Jake Schreier, who is the writer and director of Beef. Yes. Your actors were... Who do we got? I believe Wyatt Russell was an A24 project. Obviously, Florence Pugh was in Midsummer. Obviously, Sebastian Sam was in A Different Man. So that's your actors. You have the director, like I said, writer and director of Beef. You have the cinematographer of Green Knight, a gorgeous movie. There's one shot in this movie that I can't believe is real. You have the production designer of Hereditary. You have the editor of Minari. What else do we got? We have the composers of Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is one of the best Marvel scores we've ever gotten.
Yes, it's incredible.
Shout out Sonlux. Absolutely incredible.
Talk about a score that defines the characters.
Yes.
This movie does that. The score does that, I should say.
Man. This film is so... I love this movie. I really, really like this movie.
Spoilers. Spoilers ahead. We're going to talk about some things. The Void.
Yeah.
Let's talk about The Void. So obviously we get, Contessa Allegra captures Bob, brings him in to Avengers Tower. Who bought Avengers Tower, Court? Was it Norman Osborn?
No.
Was it the Fantastic Four?
No, don't do this to me. Don't go back to all the episodes where I said it was so... They pulled the aerospace engineer from WandaVision back out again.
Was it Dr. Doom?
No.
Nope, it was Contessa Allegra de Fontaine.
Miss Fontaine? It's Miss DeFontaine.
What was Wendell Pierce doing in this movie?
He said, we got some stuff to go on Capitol Hill, and it is juicy. Was he doing his best Perry White impression so he can just play Perry White in Superman?
He was chewing some scenery.
Yeah, he was.
Every scene he was in.
That little scene with Bucky killed me, where he's just like, Bucky, you don't need to be the Winter Soldier. Just text me.
Oh, man. So Allegra bought Avengers Tower.
I love how everybody calls him Bucky. They don't even call him James. They just, these actual Capitol Hill people are just like...
Yeah, didn't he get into a whole argument with Sam when he was like, you can't call me that?
Yeah.
Only Steve calls me that?
Right.
Whatever. Sam's got some issues that we got to talk about at the end of this movie.
Yeah, he does.
Copyright issues.
Yep.
So Valentina takes Bob and she's like, You're him.
Yeah.
Actually.
You're him. And Bob's like, no, I was a meth addict. Bob's got a really sad story, man.
He does. And she's like, you survived. So basically, Valentina's been trying to create the Sentry. She's been trying to create basically her own version of Thor that she could control.
Yeah, I mean, she's like she said, she's all the Avengers rolled up. And they already did that in Secret Invasion. Man. Why?
She finds out that Bob survived, and she's like, "Oh,
I can control that guy.
I can emotionally manipulate this man." And she's like, "What if I made you the Sentry?" And he's like, "That sounds awesome.
Yeah, this is cool. I finally get to be somebody." And the Void's like, "Will you get to be somebody?" I don't know about that.
It's so sad and it's so tragic that she just latches onto his insecurities.
Yep.
And is like. And, one of my favorite, minor scenes in the movie is when they're talking, and he's not completely on board, and she's like, all right, and she picks up, it's such terrible, but incredible emotional manipulation, where she picks up the Sentry buckle, and she's gonna walk out, and he's like, wait, no, he's like, my validation.
Yeah.
My validation is leaving, and she's like, And then, she introduces the Sentry in full force, and, He's a problem.
He is a problem. I mean, do you want to theorize about his power set? I have some ideas.
I mean, yeah, but I think your extremist point is good, just based on the heat stuff.
I think there's a third component in there that's causing the flight and the mind manipulate. There's a third piece in there. There's something.
So his powers are basically he's invulnerable.
Right.
Pure invulnerable. He can't be harmed.
Right.
Because they shoot at him. Red Guardian stabs him and the knife breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know if that was him breaking it.
No, I think the knife ricocheted off his face.
Yeah, so he's completely invulnerable. He has some type of heat kinesthesia, where he can manipulate the temperature of objects, because he does it to the glass of water. He boils the water and it blows up the glass. He melts John's gun, and he tries to melt Bucky's arm, but he can't because it's vibranium.
Right.
And then he can fly.
But then it's the other stuff, like the void stuff, where I'm like, what's the third piece? Because I'm gonna stick true with, like, I think they took Erskine's formula, and I think they took the extremis and they mixed it. So those, like, that would explain the pyrokinesis part, and that would explain, like, the invulnerability, because that's what they were trying to do. Like, you probably mix that with the super soldier serum, making you more durable. That probably makes invulnerability. It's the flight in the void part that I can't put my finger on. I was maybe going to go Infinity Stone wise of, like, how it created the Scarlet Witch, but the Infinity Stones are gone. So maybe I don't know. I don't know what it can be. There's something else in that. Like, I think they made it ambiguous on purpose as well too.
Because I think it could be him. Yeah,
the void attached itself to, but wait, that's
because he's implied that it's kind of always been there.
The void. Well, I think they were trying to say something else with the void stuff. Like, I personally don't think that's what they meant by that. Like, the void, like, I don't think, like,
no. Yeah, but I think it was always there in the sense that, like, somehow whatever happened to him made the void real. Like, it was always kind of there as, like, his, like, he always felt it was, like, his darkness, and then whatever happened to him literally manifested it.
Well, I mean, the other person, or the other two people in the MCU that can, or it seemingly will be three after Fantastic Four, are Wanda and her son. Like, those are the only two, and then, presumably Franklin Richards will be the third.
Yeah.
Of them can actually make those things real.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about one of the best character updates that there's ever been? Like, who cares that the Void's some interdimensional being, or it's some ancient... No. Doesn't matter. The Void is the darkness that you feel inside of yourself. Like...
And I even love how it manifested.
Yes.
In the sense that, like, he was... he was going to take Allegra out. He was going to take Valentina out. And then she had a failsafe that was triggered by everyone's new favorite actor.
Yeah.
Where she, smokes the Sentry with the kill switch. And then he reawakens. Like, because, like, the shackles came off. It was almost like a Hulk Bruce Banner sitch. Where, like, the Void kind of took over because Bob was out of commission.
Right.
So he was like, I'm here now.
Yep.
And then he just started smoking folks.
Yeah, that was insane. Mayor Fisk said, huh?
Quick, send out the anti-vigilante task force.
They'll take care of this. Oh no, my anti-vigilante task force has been annihilated.
Not if you ask him after the fact.
I think Luke Cage could have taken him.
If you ask him after the fact, they handled it.
Yeah, they did handle it. This great city.
The Void has been tackled.
Wilson, the Void's been tackled.
I love the fight scene with the Sentry.
I just think it's such a smart little ploy, because to me, this is how it played. It's not important that it was in this movie. It's just important that it's out there by the time we reach Doomsday in Secret Wars. It's important that we know that the Sentry is a certified issue. Because remember we were talking about, like, well, who's going to fight God tier Doctor Doom? It's the Sentry. That's who's going to fight him. Sentry, Captain Marvel, Thor, like, maybe we'll save the Doomsday talk for a little bit, but...
And I love how they just run. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that they were just like, nah, man, we're not built for this.
Yeah. That guy's like an actual Avenger. We can't do this.
Like, after they watch Bucky get his arm ripped off and get thrown across the room, they're like...
Nope.
No, we're just getting out of here.
Y'all take it easy, man. I'm out.
And that's, it segues into, like, one of my favorite parts of the movie where they get down there and they're like, we suck.
Yeah, yep.
Like, it's like they got their asses kicked and it validated all their feelings of inferiority.
Right.
They're like, of course we lost. We're losers. Like, we suck.
Yeah.
And then, they kind of break up.
Yep.
And Red Guardian's standing there like...
What are we doing?
Like, we can't do this. We can't break up.
Yeah. Like a band? Like the Beatles?
And then segues into that really amazing scene between Yelena and her father, where she's like, I'm alone all the time.
I've seen this movie twice. That scene the second time broke me. broke me the second time I watched it. Man, Florence Pugh, like, you want to talk about
I mean, you called this way back when we saw Black Widow, when you were like, man, what a get that she's just going to be around in this universe.
Yeah, how old was she when Black Widow came out? 24 or something like that?
Like, that was 2020.
Yeah, 2020. Because how old is Florence Pugh now? It's 2020. She's 29, I think. So, yeah.
So you called this back then.
Yeah, I was like, because see, this is what pays off to be an A24 fan. I knew she was cooking. Yeah, she's 29, so she was 24 when Black Widow came out, and I said, you guys don't understand. Like, she's an actor. She's one of those actors.
Yeah, I've seen. I mean, she just lets that out, and she's like, I'm alone.
Yep, I'm alone. Like, my sister died, and you weren't there. You left me alone. Like, I go home. She said, like, I go, I get a job, I assassinate somebody, I go home, I drink, I don't feel, I do it again, and my life is meaningless, and I mean nothing to anybody, and I am drowning. And he's like, no, you're not. He said, you're the actual light. He's like, you don't understand the light that turns on when you walk into a room.
And then he takes that stupid soccer metaphor
and breaks my heart.
About her wanting to be the goalie because she could always be relied on. And you're sitting there and you're like, you feel like how she feels when she's like, that was pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, that was pretty good. Like that and that's that switch that we talked about with you know, the Red Guardian character.
It gives you every opportunity to go into the old MCU, just tell a joke to get us out of here. But it's like Guardians 3, like, nope, not this time. Like, you're going to sit here and feel this.
Yeah. And then it segues brilliantly into like
the Voids. They look.
Yeah.
That's not you're not the Void from Marvel Comics up there, are you?
Talk about a villain.
And you want to talk, and also to go with that, Lewis Pullman's flip into the Void it's incredible.
The way he balances all the type of like the iterations of this character throughout this movie are amazing.
He's like a schizophrenic, like it's incredible.
From Bob, like when you first meet him,
happy-go-lucky, but he's like, dude, everything's good, man. Everything's great. You know, life's just life, man.
To like the inferior kind of scared Bob.
Yep.
To the Sentry.
Yeah, it's like this, like even before the Sentry, it's like the Bob that's like, you know what, I can, like the Steve Rogers, like, you know what, I can stand up and be somebody. And then to the Sentry.
To the Void. Yep. To the Bob trapped inside the Void, which is a different Bob from the other
It's the kid version of Bob.
And I was just like, man, this guy, something else.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, Lewis Pullman's got a... Thanks, Bob Pullman, for giving us Lewis Pullman.
And thank you, Kurt Russell, for giving us
Wyatt Russell. Is it cool when you're a Nepo baby to a really cool dad? Is that why Maya Hawke's cool? Because of Ethan Hawke?
Yeah, man. Great movie to be sons or daughters of famous actors.
Who's the next person we can get in there to do this?
Jack Quaid.
Yeah, let Jack Quaid be in the Thunderbolts in the next new Avengers movie. Who would he play?
I don't know.
Me neither. Jack Quaid in the MCU? Cyclops funny enough?
No. Nah.
Is he too funny?
He's too, I don't know if it's too funny, but he's too, like...
fluid.
Wiry.
Yeah. He's too skittish to play Cyclops.
Yeah, I mean, and then we get that... The Void shows up again, and he's like, you tried to murder me.
You want to talk about some lines that were being spit, like in the MCU history? Like we talk about Thanos and Kingpin. The Void was giving out some lines, I'm not gonna lie. The Void was spitting a little bit.
And then he just starts smoking folks.
Where do you think you're going?
And then there's shadows. And you're like, what is happening here?
Wait a minute. This can't... Wait.
Oh, no, again?
Again?
We're vanishing again?
I hate New York City so much. The anti-vigilante task force is abusing us.
And it's like this really uncomfortable thing, because you're like, is he...
gone?
Killing these people?
Right.
What is happening? Q, just a great... We're back, superheroes, not even superheroes, folks, powered folks, just helping people.
Right. Red Guardian's loving it. He's like, come on, guys. And like, man, and then you get back to earlier in the movie where he's like, you really want to, like, to the point of, like, he teeters the lines. He's like, because he has every chance David Harbour does to bow out sometimes, and he doesn't. He's like, you want to know when I was really happy? When I was in the streets of Russia saving people. That's when I was truthfully the Red Guardian.
Yeah.
And then he does it, and he feels the glory. And it's not for him, it's for other people. This movie is a dang good movie.
And it's great. They all come back together, like, they all, like, individual of each other. They're not even a team anymore at this point, technically. They technically broke up and walked away from each other, but they all saw somebody in danger that they felt compelled to save at some point.
Right.
And it's great. And then David Harbour saves this little girl, and he smiles to this little girl, and then whew,
the whole theater, when we saw it, was like, oh, shoot.
Everyone went, no.
That was rough. That was tough.
You felt that.
Yeah, you did.
And that's organic.
Yeah.
That's an organic, I can't remember the last Marvel movie I saw that created an organic scene or moment like that.
What, Wakanda Forever, where Atuma drags Okoye to the spear?
That's probably it. That's probably and how long ago was that? That was
3 years ago.
That was probably the last time in a Marvel movie that, like, a theater collectively felt a moment.
Yeah.
And the Okoye moment you're talking about is more like an impact.
Yeah.
Like ooh. Whereas this was like,
dog. And it was also like, yo, the void's nothing to mess around about.
Everyone gasped.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't believe that this little girl got
vaporized.
You're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, what? That's not supposed to happen.
Right.
And, like, you just see, like, the look on Alexi's face where he was just like, he couldn't, like, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I saved this little girl. Like, she's not supposed to die.
Right. What did you think she saw in her shade room? Or in her shame room?
Who knows?
Santa didn't come? Oh, no!
She failed, like, a second grade
spelling test?
Yeah.
And everybody publicly shamed her for not knowing how to spell there. I thought it was the other version of there.
And then, yeah, so, like, they look up the Thunderbolts. They do the Willem Dafoe, like,
what is that?
Oh, no.
Oh, no,
Oh,
bro.
no, it's the Void.
The Void design is...
It's awesome. And it's also... It's
terrifying.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
It's a black silhouette and white, like, pin needle eyes.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the whole design. And it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And then the Void just takes over New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And then Yelena takes this opportunity to go.
And I will always, in my headcanon, will always play that she was taking her life. If she was taking her life to save Bob, but she didn't care what the outcome was.
I think that's the right way to read it. I think she
and if you want to play back to the beginning of the movie where she was taking her she wasn't taking a leap of faith. In my mind, if she would have fell and that parachute would have went and not worked, she would have been fine. And it's like...
It's the same thing, yeah, exactly.
Her face, the opening frame of her in that face, I know that look all too well, and it's just something that's so impactful. So when she does it again, and there's another moment in the movie when they're about to die where they're about to die in the facility that Val had, she had the same look. Where she was like, I'm ready to go. But this time she was ready to go for something, not for herself. I'm ready to go for a purpose.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where, like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't,
it's all right.
It's all right. I had a good run. Yeah, it's a really poignant moment. Like, you have, like, Alexi, like, shouting after her.
And again, he had every chance to be like, and it's just, you feel it. You're like, he lost both of his daughters. Like, he just, like, I can't.
And they're all like, again, like, they're all thinking rationally. They're like, we can't just go in there. Like, I know that she did.
And then you want to talk about character lifting when the time matters. Ghost is the first one to be like, well, I'm going after her. Who's to say that she's gone? I'm going.
Because Ghost has...
That's her through line through the whole movie. She's just like Ex Machina, like, I'm coming to save you. Like,
she's kind of, like, analyzing the situation where she's like, she wouldn't have went in there if she didn't think she, had a plan.
Right.
Like, she wouldn't have went there for nothing. So I'm going in there.
Right.
We're all going in there.
Right. Bucky's like,
I guess I'm going in there.
I guess I'm going. I'm the leader of this team.
I fought Thanos.
I'm Mr. Soldier. I'm the leader of this team.
I fought Thanos.
Yeah.
I can handle this.
Yep.
You can handle this, actually.
Yeah, they did. They actually
and then
did.
and then we end up in Bob's mind. Well, we end up in Yelena's mind prison.
Yep.
Which
you see her first, like, mission at the Red Room.
Where she betrayed her best friend.
Yep.
Heartbreaking.
Yep.
Yelena. I'm like, no!
No, don't go in the woods.
Not this again.
I think they got the same actress that played her in Black Widow, which was cool.
Yeah.
And then you go into, they gotta make the guns as fast as they can, and the rest of their hands get whipped, and it's like, man, Jack Schreier, you're gonna get into Craig Mazin territory of me saying I hate you, and I actually think you're doing a phenomenal job. It's the little bit where, like, she covers her ears so she doesn't, like, your adult self protecting your childhood self from shielding
really
yourself.
Protecting herself.
Yeah. From the traumas of your childhood.
Yeah, because it's a memory. And so, like, it's not like she's actually protecting her younger self. She's protecting her adult self from her trauma.
Yep. And just the added bit to put Bob in the clothes that he wore when he was a child.
That's like that's next level stuff.
That's when Louis Pullman really started going. That's where, like, he's in the room and he's just, like, he's saying, like, I'm nothing. Like, I'm nothing. Like, I will stay here. Like, I always make everything worse.
And, like, hearing his parents arguing in the background, he's like, they stop soon enough. Like,
right. How bad could it be? Like, I'm, like, at some point you get numb. Like, again, like he says, like, what's the point? Like, this is what it's going to be. Like, this is the void that we all feel in ourselves.
I hate to say, like, I hate to be like that. Like, that's so real, man. But, like, it is.
I don't think I've ever had a Marvel movie that this is probably why it's in my top 3. Like, I've never had this type of feeling in a Marvel movie before.
Because you relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone relates to this on some level.
Yeah, and like I said about, like, the Void, like, the comic version of the Void is like this interdimensional or this, like, ancient. No. In the movie, the Void is everybody. Like, everybody has that void, that piece. And some people succumb to it as well, too. And Yelena is at the brink of succumbing to it.
Yeah, to some degree, like I said, like, to some degree, we all experience this.
Right.
You know, whether it's, relatively minor, whether it's severe. But I think the point, too, is you're the one that decides the severity of it at the end of the day. You know, how, like, we kind of, like, joked about, like, what that little girl saw in her shame room. Like, it doesn't matter, how severe it might look to us. Maybe to her, it's, like, the most horrifying experience of her life.
Yeah.
And, like, that's kind of the point. And
then the back half of it is, we'll touch on it in a second. There's something that can get you out of it. There's ways you can get it out. And, like, I don't know how you want to read Bob and Yelena's relationship. I don't know if they're going to turn it romantic. I don't know if it's a brother and sister relationship, but it's a relationship nonetheless. It's the most, you can say that it's, Red Guardian and Yelena. It's Bob and Yelena. That's the most important relationship in this movie. Mm-hmm. And, it works both ways as well, too. Like, it's like the understanding from Bob on, like, a non-parental level that you would get at a Red Guardian. Like, Bob's like, I get it. I understand. Like, and Yelena to him, like, Yelena was probably the first person that's ever seen Bob, not the Sentry, not the conduit that, Val wants to use, or, not this, like, little crap of a person that doesn't mean anything like his parents saw. Like, no, I see Bob. Like, that's who I see.
Yeah, and that's why I love that scene when they fight the Sentry, and she goes, I know you. Mm-hmm. And he goes, like, do you?
Do you? Yep. And the answer is yes, I do know you. Like, you're me. Like,
I think he needed that experience in the Void again with her to see that she does understand.
Right.
And then it just segues into, all these Marvel movies. Every time you always want to pay attention to the third act and how this third act unfolds and how are they going to deal with the villain? How are they going to deal with the problem? This movie handles it in probably the best way that they could.
Yeah. They held hands and all. No, BS. That's BS. That's straight BS.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes. Yep.
When, like, it's the quote unquote, like, we defeated you with the power of friendship, but it's the best example.
Yeah,
it's the best example of it.
Yeah, like, I heard that and I was like, that's just straight BS, and you're projecting. It feels like almost like you're projecting something that's like, you don't want to believe that this is a way that you can feel better, but it truthfully is. You're just not ready to hear it yet. That's how I took that, because, man, that was the second time this movie broke me, was that end. And it was this kind of, like, again, that all too familiar, like, you're beating yourself. Like, you're truthfully, to the end of the day, like, Bob turned into the darkness he was trying to escape.
Yeah, because the crew shows up.
Yep.
They find Yelena and Bob, and then they start tumbling through Bob's subconscious.
And then
Walker punches out Bob's abusive father.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a nice touch.
Yes. Yep.
And then they end up back in the lab that we see in the beginning of the movie.
That's the shot that I was gushing over when I saw this movie, where the Void's sitting there and you see the two silhouettes on the left and right of him, and he's kind of sitting there, and like that's where you flex. You got the cinematographer of the Green Knight, like that's where you flex that right there.
Come at me, bro.
Come at, yeah. The Void's just chilling. Void's like, what's up, Bobby?
Like the Void is like, it's a very real metaphor for this type of manic depression. Where like, you can't overcome me as much as you might try. It's not going to happen.
Man, and Bob, man.
And if you are going to overcome me, you're going to do it through anger.
Yeah, and pain. And guess what you're going to get out of this?
Nothing.
You're going to dig yourself even deeper and deeper and deeper until you can't come out of it.
And that's what you get when Bob is fighting back against the Void and the shadow is literally consuming him as he's throwing punches. And he's only pulled out when the rest of the team is able to get to him.
And Son Lux, that score, that's like one of the best score pieces I've heard out of the MCU. Like, and not score pieces of like the main theme of the movie. No, the actual score piece used in the moment. Man, like that moment, it broke me because it's like, you don't have to be alone to do this. Like, this is one of the pieces that can get you out of it. Like, they're all grabbing onto Bob. Like, Yelena's there first of like, you don't, it doesn't have to be like, we're here. You don't have
to fight it like this.
You don't have to fight it alone. Like, we're here. Like, what, to whatever capacity, and like, they're all at different levels of capacities to Bob. Obviously, Yelena's the closest. Ghost is probably the farthest. But like, we're all still here for you to any capacity that might need.
Yeah, they had adopted him, basically.
Yeah, they did. We're here. Like, we're here for you.
And it's like, you don't, fighting this alone only makes it worse.
Yep.
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, fighting it with people that care about you makes it more manageable.
Right.
That's ultimately what the movie is about.
Right.
And they've all experienced it to some degree. Like,
yes, that's the point. What's the through line of all of them in their darker halves? They were alone. They were all alone. Yelena was, what did she say? I was all alone. And Red Guardian sits in an apartment, after having the glory of Russia behind him, he sits in an apartment on the next block over from Baltimore. We're not technically in Baltimore. Ghost is on the run from 15 Nation as a S.H.I.E.L.D. reject. Her parents are dead. She has nobody with her. She physically phases in and out of reality. John Walker was Captain America and had it stripped from him, but it doesn't matter that he had the Captain America stripped. He had his wife and child stripped from him. They are all alone. All of them, last of them. And when did they all get out of there? When they were together.
And the only one that's gone and through it and gotten in the other side was Bucky.
And who got them into the situation in the first place to tell themselves that they can do it? None other than Bucky.
And he's also the one that didn't process his thing alone.
Yes.
He did for a long time until
Sam said...
Sam found him.
Yep, and he's do the work. Like, he did the work. He did it. And guess what? Like, by the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like, he wasn't alone. Like, he had somebody that he can call a friend and somebody that he can go into battle with. But just be around if things get tough. Like, hey, come to my family's post we save the world barbecue.
And then, the through line, and it's the one at the end when they're like, and when Bob basically says, like, I can't be the Sentry anymore. It's, a very real metaphor. Like, just because they beat the Void in that moment doesn't mean it's gone. Doesn't mean he's magically better.
Yeah.
Like, that is always going to be with him.
Right.
Just like it's always going to be with all of them. It's just how you manage it and if you manage it together. Like, the Void is always going to be a part of him.
Yeah. All the bad-ish that, I know Yelena talks about it, like, I've done so many bad things. Like, so many. And Red Guardian kind of says, all right, we've all done bad-ish. Bad-ish has happened to all of us. But you don't understand how special you are still. You don't understand how much good you've done as well, too. You don't see that in you.
Yeah.
I'm here to show you that you are that. So, yeah, that's the simplicity of why this movie cracks my top 3. And, like, to be this far down the line in the MCU, and, like, we get something like this, it's remarkable. I'm excited for Fantastic Four as well, too. Like, it just feels like we're in this new age where, like, cinema's a focus.
There's a buzz.
Character's a focus.
Yeah.
Like you said, like, I haven't felt that in the theater in a while. Like, I I didn't like Guardians 3. We both agreed it was like it's like a different like it was like a different kind of pocket that Guardians 3 was in, because I think I can confidently say that Guardians 3 and this are the best movies out of the post Endgame era. This movie it's different though. I mean, this movie it's a movie. That's the biggest thing. This is a film. Like, this is an actual film that was put together front to back by creators that care and actors that care and actors that wanted to make a good movie.
Yeah. And then we get to the end of the movie was like post Void. They go to confront Valentina.
I want to kill that lady.
And she's like, guys, let's just talk. And John Walker's like, I'm all out of talking.
Mm-hmm.
And then she, again, like, you just want to see Valentina get her comeuppance, but she doesn't. Instead, she manipulated this entire situation to say that, congratulations.
You're an Avenger now.
The new Avengers, everybody.
What? This is the name of the movie?
Yep. They did the thing that literally everyone thought they were going to do.
Yep.
And yes, they are now the new Avengers.
Mm-hmm. Sam Wilson's like,
well, yes. We find out that Sam Wilson is an expert in copyright litigation.
Right.
So that's the end of the movie. So then, obviously, can't be a Marvel movie without your post-credit scenes. First post-credit scene's fun. It's classic Marvel. You get a fun one, and then you get one that tells you what's coming next.
Right.
So we get the fun one with Red Guardian in a grocery store, and he's like trying to sell this woman on a box of Wheaties that have the new Avengers on it.
Yeah.
And he's like, huh?
That's me.
That's me. And
She's like, we don't care.
We don't care. She puts it down. It's pretty fun. I enjoyed that. And then the second one, we get a scene directed by the Russo brothers. Presumably will be again, it's probably classic Marvel. We'll probably see this scene in Avengers Doomsday.
Right.
Presumably.
Yeah, I mean, it's very akin to, I forget which movie it was.
The
Captain Marvel, Avengers Infinity War 1.
It's the
okay, Avengers Endgame, yeah.
It's the Ant-Man post-credit scene.
Right.
That was the scene from Civil War.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. We're back. We're so back. We're back to post-credit scenes mattering.
Right.
So yeah, we get the new Avengers in the new Avengers digs. John Walker's got a beret.
And his shield is still bent.
I kind of like it.
No, I don't.
I kind of like it because it's kind of like, this is who I am now. This is who I was when I was forged into an Avenger.
Right.
My shield was broken.
What's his shield made out of?
Who knows?
I still love the fact that what if it was made out of adamantium and the void is the sentry's just that.
I think he will get a new shield at some point.
Yeah, they'll give him an adamantium shield.
I don't think they'll go that far.
Yes, they will.
They're gonna be like,
yeah, it's the government.
Nah.
You're talking to the president of the government.
Nah, I don't think he can have one. Don't give him that.
Just give him an adamantium shield.
No.
Have it say U.S. in the middle.
No. Don't give him adamantium. Don't do that.
The beret's fun. He said, do you like
It's a choice.
Do you like your little hat? He's like, the hat? Hat's cool.
Can we talk about Bucky's hair?
Yeah, they yassified Bucky.
Great hair.
Yeah, they yassified
He's back
him.
to like, that was like Captain America Winter Soldier-esque.
He did a lot of aura farming in this movie.
I gotta see more of it, but that might be my favorite Bucky look besides the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good looking costume. It's pretty great.
It's solid.
I like it.
It's solid. Yelena.
It's good.
Yeah. She's Black Widow.
It's Black Widow, yeah.
Yep.
They're talking.
Ghost also yassified Ghost's hair.
They did, yeah. She got a little makeover. Pretty nice. Bob is there.
Yep. Bob's like, I can't help. And they're like, you're literally the most powerful person on the planet.
He's like, but then the Void shows up. And
yeah,
like,
nobody likes that. Nobody likes when he's here. I did the dishes though, so
everyone will be sad.
Yeah.
Literally. If the Void shows up.
It's not great when he's here.
You think the Void would get an Avengers suit?
That would be funny. It's just still, but like the silhouette's just the Avengers A.
They got a new Avengers A.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Little spike through it.
Yeah,
instead
cool.
of an arrow.
Right, pretty cool.
So yeah,
Red Guardian. He's pulling a Chris Evans from Fantastic Four 2.
Avengers.
He said, Sam Wilson is litigious man. I am smart man.
Yeah, so we get a little tiny backstory that Sam Wilson not too happy with New Avengers. Doesn't like it. Probably feels a little betrayed by Bucky, to be honest.
The Russo brothers, if you guys are truly cooking, maybe show you think they fight each other?
Maybe not a fist fight. I don't think they're that petty.
It would be fun if they like got into like a little squabble. And, like, it's more about a squabble to show that, like, Sam's ready to be Captain America now. To him. To, like, physically to him. Not like the mantle of Captain America. Like,
well, I think he might kind of take it as, like, a slap in the face.
Sure.
Like,
And Bucky basically said, this is you. You are the leader of the Avengers now. This is why Steve chose you. And then for Bucky to turn around and be like...
I got my own Avengers.
Yeah.
And we're actually in Avengers Tower.
And we're the government's Avengers. Like,
yeah.
But Bucky says, like, but he's Captain America. Like, he's the government's Captain America. So, like, something's not clicking.
I'm intrigued.
Me too. Like, because... I think they're probably gonna punch for a bit and then they're mates. All right, who's on Sam Wilson's Avengers?
We don't know.
That's the question.
He's also, got one person.
Some people are presumably gonna join the new Avengers too. I'm presuming.
I would.
Would you?
Yeah.
Depends who he has. Like, I'm assuming
because like all the guys that he got are like Avengers adjacent.
Well, Sam.
Doctor Strange isn't technically an Avenger.
No, well, he's not gonna be on the Avengers. Like Sam, I'm gonna assume he's gonna have Ant-Man.
Great.
He's going to have Ant-Man. He'll have Shang-Chi.
That's pretty good.
He'll have Captain Marvel.
Maybe
I'll take Captain Marvel out of there.
Like her and Thor are both like kind of like Avengers adjacent.
Yeah, I'm not going to take...
Like I know Thor's technically an Avenger, but like he doesn't do stuff with
Sam, Joaquin, Ant-Man, Shang-Chi, She-Hulk.
She-Hulk?
Come on, man.
Oh, this is the woke Avengers.
No.
You're doing this again.
An Asian man. A Latino man.
A She-Hulk.
A She-Hulk, a black man.
Look at the new Avengers.
Yeah.
It's all white people.
And half a ghost.
That's why they're the real Avengers.
No, don't take that take. They don't know that you're joking. They're going to take this out of context. Yeah, you have Shang-Chi, Ant-Man, She-Hulk, Falcon, Captain America.
Great. Good.
Who else?
Great team. That's it. And he doesn't even have any of those people yet. We're just
I'm assuming because it's 14 months later. I think Sam probably recruited some people. Like he probably
Wouldn't you like to see that happen though?
Well, they're probably going to show it at the beginning of Doomsday. Like
I would kind of hate that.
What?
Like him forming the Avengers at the beginning of an Avengers movie. We probably should have seen that by now.
Well, Sam's going to have his Avengers team ready.
I would hope.
You think Fantastic Four First Steps is going to invert this post-credit scene?
Maybe.
That would be fun. If they get there, they're like, who are the real Avengers?
They land right in the middle of both Avengers teams.
Oh, it's like the X-Men 90, like it's like the X-Men 97 like opening credits where they both run at each other.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about that real quick. So they're in the Watchtower. Mm-hmm. They're at the Avengers Tower and they're arguing, talk about Sam Wilson being mad that they are the Avengers now.
But they're the new Avengers with a Z.
And then they're like, big thing coming in from outer space.
Mm-hmm. Why are they not telling us anything about it? Because you're being used, Yelena. That's why. Big
thing from outer space, and Bucky's kind of like quarterbacking Yelena on how to...
You know what I love throughout this movie with Bucky? Like one of the subtle things? How like adept he is to everything. But, like, he just chooses not to, like, flex it anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's not him anymore. He's like, she's like, you can track my phone, right? He's like, yes, I can, but I don't want to because that's not me anymore. She's like, all right, bye. And Bucky, like, captures all of them. Yeah. Like, these super soldiers he just captures like it's nothing.
The Winter Soldier.
Mr. Soldier. So cool.
So, yeah, Bucky's kind of, like, quarterbacking Yelena on how to, like, deal with the interplanetary crisis.
Or just the satellite itself. Just how to be an Avenger.
He's like, just open up the satellite and give us an image, please. And she's like, give us an image, please.
Yep.
It's like the Arrowverse, the Invasion crossover.
Oh, yeah.
When Barry's like, we gotta, and Oliver's like, we gotta spar against Supergirl. He's like, we're gonna fight Supergirl. And he's like, in a training mission. And Sarah's like, are we just expected not to hear him? It's like the same thing that Bucky's doing. And she's like, yeah, pull up the thing. And then they're like, Walker's like, we're running out of space. And they're like, outer space. He's like, I'm dumb now.
Yeah, that's my fear. That's one of my fears. Russo's don't do it. John Walker is one of the best characters out of the new phase. Don't do it.
Outer space. Yes. I love space.
Maybe the hat makes him dumber. Maybe the beret makes him a little dumber.
Look, the beret's a choice.
It just doesn't seem combat enough. Like,
but
where's his
he
helmet?
made such a big deal about the helmet, too. Remember?
Mm-hmm. No, it's not a helmet, it's a hat. What about your hat?
Groot hates hats.
Yeah. Yeah, Groot does for sure hate hats. Maybe they're gonna make a deal out of that.
So yeah, spaceship comes flying in. They're like, what the? Is that a spaceship? And then great cinematic timing out of the spaceship.
To do a good classic turn.
You're
the Fantastic Four from Marvel Comics, aren't you?
It'd be funny if there's no Fantastic Four in the ship. It's just Herbie.
No, it would be funnier if it was the thing. He's like, okay. Okay. Is this planet good or what?
Yeah, so the Fantastic Four are presumably escaping their universe?
Maybe.
We don't know for sure.
Maybe Reed's just sending probes.
Dicking around?
Yeah, maybe he's sending probes out just to see.
He's just dicking around?
He could be. Could be.
But yeah, I think they should just crash in the middle of both Avengers teams and be like...
Which one are the true Avengers?
We are the true Avengers.
We're the true Avengers. Wait, are both not the real true Avengers? I request elaborate. Vision would be on Sam's team. Wait, would...
Vision's having a crisis.
Wait, White Vision would be...
White Vision would be on which team? Think about your answer very carefully. Before you proclaim which team White Vision's
White Vision would be on the new Avengers. Maybe that's a fun episode. We divvy out the rest of the Avengers from the people that are like our free agents.
White Vision and Woke Vision.
Come on, man. That's Philosopher Vision. We should divvy out the rest of the Avengers.
That's what I said.
Each team.
Everyone's a free agent. Everyone's a free agent right now, technically.
Would Thor, funny enough, probably go to the new Avengers?
Yeah,
because what's his loyalty to Sam Wilson?
None. Zero. I don't think they've shared a single moment together.
Captain Marvel is too much of a Girl Scout. She'd go to Sam.
She'd stay with Sam.
Hulk would go with Sam.
He's retired.
He's going with Sam.
I'm not fighting any more beings.
She-Hulk would go with Sam. Shang-Chi would go with Sam. Who else we got? Ant-Man would go with Sam.
Ant-Man, weirdly enough, is the most loyal to Sam.
Yeah. It doesn't matter who has the mantle of Captain America. As long as you're not John Walker, I'm loyal. He said, actually, it does matter who has the mantle. Because that John Walker guy's a psycho. Why can't I think of any other Avengers right now? Because
they're all dead or retired.
Yeah. Doctor
Strange is in another dimension.
He is. He's coming, though. He's going to be an issue.
Doctor Strange?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know why Doctor Doom popped in my head when you said Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at the landscape of Phase 4. And I will tell you who will side with which team.
Okay.
All right. We are on to... Okay. WandaVision. Wanda.
She's dead, technically.
Vision.
Who knows? He's having a crisis.
Okay.
He's unavailable.
Okay. Shang-Chi.
Sam's team, probably.
We're skipping the Eternals.
We'll never see them again.
Hawkeye.
Retired?
Kate Bishop. Young Avengers. There's a third variant. There's
Young
a third
Avengers,
variant.
Yeah.
All right, this is where it's going to get fun. Moon Knight.
Ooh.
He'd go with the new Avengers.
Defenders?
Come on, no, that's not. We're not having a fourth team.
I guess. Moon Knight would probably be. I don't know.
I think he's going with the new Avengers.
Would he?
Mark Spector is literally the whole thing we were talking about. All its characters. Mark Spector also fits into that.
True. Yeah. Trauma bonding. Yeah. Yep. Good point.
But Jake Lockley would go with the OG Avengers.
No, Stephen Grant would go.
Stephen Grant would go with the new Avengers.
Jake Lockley would hang out with the Void.
No, he'd hang out with the Punisher and the Void. What do you think the Punisher saw in there? Sunshine and Rainbows?
Yeah, his worst fear.
What is that?
His worst fear: a life without criminals.
This is what... Miss Marvel, the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
Thor.
I feel like he would team up with the new Avengers.
I think he would too. I think it'd be a fun contrast.
I feel like he would have more camaraderie with the new Avengers.
I think. Well, what I genuinely think is going to happen is they're going to replace Hyperion with Sentry in Doomsday and Secret Wars, and him and Thor are going to be like bros together.
That makes a lot of sense.
They're going to like grow out his beard, and they're going to like
clasp their hands and flex their biceps. They're like, ooh, you're.
You know what would be funny if you want to talk about all this trauma bonding of all the bad crap we've been through? Like Thor has been through so much bad crap. He's gonna older brother himself to Sentry, and like he's gonna show him how to bring out the Sentry without bringing out the Void.
Like you're strong.
Yeah, you're strong.
We're both strong.
Are we bros now?
I was gonna be friends with Hercules, but never mind.
No, they were gonna be lovers. That's Thor 5. She-Hulk, the Avengers,
probably.
Werewolf by Night.
Leave him home.
Yeah, he's not. He
Jake Schreier wanted Man-Thing to be in this movie.
I still think that this movie needed one
weirdo,
big, you know, right? Like Guardians has, you know,
Groot.
The Avengers have Hulk.
Yeah.
I think this movie either needed Man-Thing or I think the one that actually would have fit is the Abomination. The Abomination would have been the fun one.
Yeah, because what's Man-Thing's trauma?
Yeah, bring back, what's his name, Tim Roth? I think Tim Roth would have fit into this movie really well.
What's Man-Thing's trauma? What did Man-Thing see in the void?
Him in his human form?
Him in black and white?
Oh, no. Obviously, Shuri.
Sam.
Namor. You not thinking about Doctor Doom? He's just gonna immediately be like, "Yo, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about."
I get this man.
Yeah, this guy's mad cool. Star-Lord. Funny enough, he would fit the best with the new Avengers. Ant-Man.
Sam. Old Avengers.
Wasp.
Regular Avengers.
Yeah, Ant-Man and Wasp are a package deal to the new Avengers. Nick Fury. I mean, you go with Sam.
Yeah. Even when I'm out, I'm in.
Captain Marvel obviously would go with Sam. Echo?
No.
She's not in on this.
She's not in.
Deadpool and Wolverine don't count.
X-Men.
Agatha?
She's probably not.
Yeah, she's sitting this one out.
She's a ghost.
Did you say ghost? We can't have two ghosts on this team. It says John Walker. Daredevil?
Too busy building his own team?
Yeah. Filled with cherry for some odd reason. Spider-Man? Sam.
Yeah, probably.
Who else do I got? I think we covered like everybody that's not dead. Valkyrie. Hey man. She might go with the new Avengers. Hawkeye himself retired.
He's retired.
Retired. Retired.
Thought you were, retired.
Ironheart.
I mean, she'd probably go with wherever Shuri's going.
Mm-hmm. Wonder Man. My name's
Aura?
Yeah, Aura. He's going on the side of Aura.
Whoever has the most aura, he'll find them, or they'll find him. Actually,
yeah, they will. They just make him.
He would be new Avengers because he's like a movie star.
Yeah. I got an idea. If they do another new Avengers movie, you have Simon, like you add Simon Williams, and like he's like their new frontman. Like no,
that's what I'm saying, yeah,
and
he'd
like
be all for that.
And if they give him his comic powers, he's an issue. Like he's like that's a balanced breakfast. Like I don't want to fight that guy.
Yeah, I feel like he would be new Avengers. Like,
yeah, he would.
They would bring him in.
Yeah, they would.
Because they'd be like, because Valentino would be like, none of you guys are charming.
Yeah.
Or fun.
And
you can't just keep sending Red Guardian out there.
Yeah. They should do a Red Guardian might have been canceled subplot in the next new Avengers movie.
He was a communist.
He was a communist. Maybe that's why he's canceled. Maybe he should run for office.
So now we brought this guy in, Simon Williams, and look at him.
Yeah. That's Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Look at him. The second. He's cool as crap.
He's like, hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all. I'm Simon Williams.
Like,
I'm Wonder Man.
Like, damn, he is.
Is he cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. The Red Guardian's like, so cool. Mr. Soldier, I thought you were that cool. That guy cool.
That guy's way cooler than you.
That guy's way cooler than you.
Bucky's like, but I just got my new hair.
Yeah, but look at that guy. That guy's cool.
Damn, he's cool.
Is he cool? The Punisher? The Void.
He's siding with the Void.
He is siding with the Void. Miles Morales?
He's not around. He doesn't exist yet.
Why not?
Because he doesn't.
I think I covered everyone.
Pretty much.
I think I got everybody.
So yeah.
That's not as many characters as I thought it was.
No, they're all dead for the most part, or retired.
Monica Rambeau?
She's trapped in another dimension.
Doctor Strange?
Also trapped in another
No, he's going with Doctor Doom. Yeah, Doctor Strange is going to be like, listen, this guy's got a plan, guys.
He's also in another dimension. He's hanging out with Clea.
Yeah, there's not a lot to... Cassie Lang? Young Avengers. Billy?
Young Avengers.
Tommy?
Also Young Avengers.
Elijah Bradley.
We don't know if we're ever going to see him.
Why was he just not in Captain America 4?
We don't know if we're ever going to see him again.
I don't know what he did to anybody, but that's
nothing.
That's a different
But we might not never see him again.
Yeah, that's not great. Yeah, I think I covered everybody.
Yeah. So the next thing is Fantastic Four.
Wow. We're trucking along this year for all the great stuff that's coming out.
This movie comes out in 2 months.
It does come out in 2 months. Superman comes out in 2 months.
Yeah. Fantastic.
We're probably going to get a Superman trailer here soon, is Hopefully. What the streets are saying. We need something else to do.
Fantastic.
Huh? Miles Teller's the maker.
What does the 4 mean? You think that like the New Avengers looked up at the ship with the 4 and they're like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's stupid.
What is that?
What is that?
What is that? This is a big ship with a 4 on it. Lame.
So cool.
I do like your idea that it's just Ben Grimm in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Reed really outdid himself with this one. Like, who's Reed?
Who's Reed?
Big stretchy arms come out of the ship.
I'm Reed Richards.
Oh my god, you're Pedro Pascal.
Well, from everything. You're Pedro Pascal from cinema.
It'd be funny if they recognized the Fantastic Four, since they're from another universe, they recognize them as their actors.
You're not from Stranger Things, are you?
Wait a minute, you're that guy from Stranger Things.
And then Johnny uses the same logic back to Red Guardian. He's like, wait, you're the dropper from Stranger Things. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What a picture. Do we give out a...
Like, the post-credit scene wasn't as, like, monumental.
People were making out as if that... Is it because we were so deprived of a meaningful post-credit scene for so many years that people were like, you guys don't understand?
Yeah, it's like, alright.
Because I kept hearing it like, no, this post-credit scene, this is
like,
the
it changes everything.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't. We knew the Fantastic Four were coming to this universe.
Relax, bro. Yeah, like, what did it change? It didn't change anything. It was cool.
Just nice to see that they made a post-credit.
I'm telling you, we've been so deprived that finally...
It's cool that they finally made another one that will just... It's just, here's the next movie.
Right.
That's coming out. I was very grateful for that. But, like, it wasn't like, oh my god. Maybe it's because I was, like, expecting Fantastic Four or something.
I wasn't. I thought they were going to do a Doomsday thing.
Yeah, so did I.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, this is a Doomsday thing.
But I wouldn't have been shocked if, like, like, people were making it seem like the Fantastic Four, like, showed up.
I thought they were going to show up. I thought Doctor Doom was going to show up. I thought the incursions were going to start happening, and, like... I thought what was, because people were saying, you guys don't understand the second post-credits scene. I thought, one of the things I thought was like, an incursion was going to happen, and it was going to be the X-Men characters were going to drop down, and then you were going to hear the theme, and I would have been like, oh dear.
Oh dear. Yeah, should we do some awards?
Yeah, why not, man?
This movie deserves it.
This movie does deserve a lot of awards. Alright, best cinema moment in this movie?
Best cinema moment, huh?
I love the ambiguity behind this award because, like, there's so many aspects that go into filmmaking. You can really be creative of how you divvy this award.
For me, I think it's Yelena stepping into the void.
Okay. For me, it's the opening sequence of this movie. Her they practically did that. Like, she jumped off the building. Mm-hmm. And then the top-down shadow fight scene. Like, I wish we got one more creative scene using, not the same visual trick, but, like, the creativity of Jake Schreier and team. Mm-hmm. Like, I wish we got one more prolonged action sequence. You know what? This movie is, like, the definition of, like, the one-take action sequence. Like, this movie should have encapsulated a one-take action sequence that was just, like... I mean, it kind of did with the... There was bits of the first fight that they all had together.
Yeah.
But just that opening sequence with Yelena, just, like, that drop-down... shadow fight that she had was really great. Best character that doesn't need to be in this movie?
Best character that doesn't need to be in this movie. That doesn't... The congressman.
Oh, Wendell Pierce?
Pierce's character. I really enjoyed him for some reason. I don't think he had any clue what movie he was in.
No.
Because he was just wacky.
He said, "In the secrets are juicy."
He was like, what was he doing?
He was doing a bit. That's what he was
doing. I know
doing.
he was doing a bit, but why?
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't get it.
How did he get there?
I don't know, man. You got a Superman movie to do, and you just had time for this? This is crazy.
You got time to be a wacky congressman?
Yeah, it was insane. Best actor to join the franchise? It's Louis Pullman.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's non-negotiable.
Oh, we can actually use this one. Best car bit? It's the chase in the desert.
It's the chase in the desert, or just strictly a car bit. It's him pulling up.
Yelena!
Yeah.
It's your dad!
And she's like, oh my god.
Don't go in the vault!
I really like that.
Best family member? Is it Red
Was
Guardian?
This Fast and Furious inspired?
Well, this all pulls something from something.
Yeah. I'd say Red Guardian, yeah.
Okay. Best side mission? There's no side missions in this movie. Isn't Bucky being a congressman, but also being the Winter Soldier is the best side mission in this movie?
The Congress, like the investigation into Val.
Yeah.
Goes back to Wendell Pierce.
Yeah.
It is juicy.
It is juicy. Best side character in this movie? Wendell Pierce?
Taskmaster.
No, it can't. She didn't even get enough to be a side character.
Val's assistant.
Yeah.
I liked her a lot.
Yeah, she'll be back. She'll definitely be back. Best stance? Just kidding. But I'll remix the best stance into, like, who has the best, like, who was your favorite set of, like, your favorite person on the team's power set specifically? That doesn't include the Sentry. We'll just take him out because it's too easy.
I really like what they did with Ghost Powers in this.
Ghost Powers are awesome. I think I like John's because it's like, that's like, even the bit of him jumping, like, they buffed him.
Where did that come from?
I know,
but like,
he's a unit. He took and somebody made a good point, like, Steve's serum was the earliest version of the serum.
Yeah, it was made in the 40s.
Versus a version that was made in the 2020s. Like, John's serum is probably more potent and probably stronger. And also, somebody made a point. When Steve got his serum, he was like a small individual.
Yeah.
John Walker is the peak physical specimen that you want, and then he got the super soldier serum. Like,
yeah.
He's probably stronger than Steve is. Like, he's probably stronger than Steve. Like, he's probably like everything that Steve wants to be. He's just a psychopath a little bit.
But no, I thought the stuff they did with Ghost Powers in this movie was great. Like her phasing through the helicopter.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is, you guys get it.
Yeah. Best boss fight? Them versus the Sentry?
Yeah. That fight versus the Sentry is like in the video game when you fight the boss in the beginning of the game and you're supposed to
It's when Kratos fights Thor in the beginning of God of War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you fight Khoton Khan.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima.
I know I'm going to lose, but...
I'm going to try. I'm going to whoop your ass now, Victor.
Ooh. I can feel your spine, Johnny. One day we're going to talk about X-Men Origins Wolverine. A movie I was quite obsessed with when I was a child.
Everybody was.
That movie came out after Iron Man 1.
Uh-huh.
That bothers me.
Sure did.
I love pitting the X-Men timeline and like the Fox timeline against the MCU timeline and seeing when the movies came out. Because then you're like, wait, why did Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer come out 1 year before Iron Man? And then also, why did Spider-Man 3 come out 1 year before Iron Man 1? Because those movies are 20 years apart, actually.
Yeah.
Saddest moment in this movie? Woof.
Oh my
Woof.
God.
Woof.
Taskmaster?
No.
Just kidding.
No.
I don't, man. The scene, like I said, the scene with Yelena where she breaks down is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But also, the scene of Bob in the Void is also heartbreaking. I'm
going to go with the scene of Bob in the Void because, like, I get it, man. I get it, man.
Yeah.
This is a good movie.
It's great.
Best relationship?
Yelena and Bob.
Just because you said that, I'll go Yelena and Alexi.
Yeah. I just like the way that they. I love a good like kindred spirit relationship of like two people just being like I see you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
and I don't see whatever version of somebody you're trying to be. I don't see whatever version that people are trying to make you to be. I just see you because I see you. That's it.
Yeah.
Most underrated character in this movie?
Red Guardian.
I'd say it's Ghost.
Yeah, I'd say Red Guardian just because, again, I just think you expected one thing from him. Like, it felt like he was going to be very big and loud and funny to varying degrees of success.
I mean, you can compare this to the way they use Drax in Guardians 1 specifically. Because Guardians 1 Drax still has the little bit of, like, I have a broken past, and B, I'm still a problem to deal with. Like, you do not want to deal with me.
Yeah. So
I think 2 loses it too much.
Yeah, so I think Red Guardian, again, there were moments where I was genuinely surprised with the direction that character went in.
Right.
Which because Black Widow, he doesn't even do a ton of like the emotional tethering in Black Widow that he does in this movie. You know, in Black Widow, he's still kind of goofy a little bit.
Yep. Most heroic moment? This movie has a ton of heroic moments, actually.
Ironically enough, yeah. I'm going to say a heroic moment in the sense that like it's the character saving themselves and it's when Bob defeats the Void. with the help of the team.
My most heroic moment is going to be it's Alexei realizing that he not only does Yelena still have that light, he still has it too.
Yeah.
And he's saving people, and that's the red guard. That's the fully
all
realized.
All the heroic moments in this movie are like the characters kind of saving themselves, which I think is awesome.
They're saving themselves from their darker half by being the best versions of themselves that they can be. And those
Daredevil and Fisk could learn a thing or two.
They could. Crew. They really could.
Don't succumb to your darker half.
Yeah.
Learn to overcome it, guys.
Best bit.
I think I like your point about Bucky. Mm-hmm. Like him not being able to escape, like his Winter Soldierism. Mm-hmm. I think is pretty funny.
Yep. What's the best bit in this movie?
The Thunderbolts bit is pretty good.
Yeah. Shane.
It wasn't Shane's.
Shane. What is the best bit in this movie? Is it Wendell Pierce? It's funny.
It's pretty good. Because I have no clue what's going on there.
Me neither. What is the best bit in this movie?
The Bob, just his name being Bob.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Best battle? I think it's them against themselves.
Ooh. Yeah. That's tough. I like that. That's a good one. Them against themselves.
Favorite cameo? Fantastic Four.
That was probably the only cameo, right?
I think that was and it wasn't even a cameo.
Yeah, because they weren't even in it.
No.
The Avengers name?
The Avengers Tower is
Avengers
the best cameo.
Taskmaster?
No, don't. Best set?
Ooh.
Avengers Tower?
Avengers Tower is pretty slick. I like that one.
New York?
This is probably the most alive New York they've filmed in a while.
Just the subtle trick to have New York be on a dark and gloomy, just a grayed out day versus the Avengers' first time out. It was like a bright and sunny day.
Probably the best. This is probably the best that they've had the New York looking in a while. Mm-hmm. At least in movies.
Right,
I think Daredevil did a nice job.
Well, they shot in New York for Daredevil, which I don't know if this movie shot in New York or not.
It looked like it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that scene with Yelena and Alexei looked like it was set on a New York street. Right.
You said there was a lot of extras going on as well too, which I like. That's real movie making.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, man, there's a couple that I really like. I like the bunker.
Yeah.
That they all fought in.
Yep.
I thought that was cool.
Yep. This movie looks great. This is a good looking movie.
Yeah.
Best heat check performance?
Taskmaster?
Nope. Nope. The Void?
Yeah, you could argue that. Because, again, he puts up such a distinct performance. You could also say, him as the Sentry, too.
Yeah. Sure. Like the Sentry himself.
Because, that... He drops, that whole God bit was captivating. It felt very... You could tell they were kind of, a little bit, with that character, they were kind of inspired by Homelander a little bit.
Sure.
With how he was talking to her.
Don't be cognizant. Oh no, he's becoming self-aware. he said, well, you said I'm all the Avengers rolled into one, and there's at least one God.
I was like...
I said, uh-oh. I said, Val, that kill switch you had, now's the time.
He got you there.
This is it.
So he wasn't the Sentry as long as I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
So I liked the little bit that he was the Sentry.
I think they're saving it for Doomsday. I think they're really saving him, going full, because they're gonna need it. How you can immediately give validity to Doom is Captain Marvel, Thor, the Avengers really pull out the heaviest of hitters, and Doctor Doom's no, no, absolutely not. Funniest moment.
Oh, this movie's got a bunch of them,
and it's much more organically funny too.
Yes, yeah.
I love when he shows up in the desert.
It's so good. It's so funny. I also just you know what moment popped me a little bit when they're escaping the facility and the guy goes to Walker and he's like, identify yourself, and Walker just goes, no.
And Yelena's like, oh my god.
That really popped me. I really enjoyed that because he didn't even try to think of a fake nothing. He just said no. Identify yourself. No. That really popped me. Him jumping and landing on his back was pretty good. This movie, like you said, is very organically funny.
Right. Best exposition dump? This isn't Bob. This is Robert Reynolds from Marvel Comics, who has the power of you know what the best exposition dump? It's when they found the Sentry files, and it's like the Golden Guardian of Good.
Yeah.
All the designs.
Yeah. It's probably the best way they could have done it.
Sure. Because it's so Marvel Comics, clunky, stupid.
Yeah.
And like, but somebody kept making the point, like, one of the best points I've seen is talking about his suit. Like, they MCU-ified the suit. Like, no, that was the point. Like, Bob is the only...
He's manufactured. Yeah.
Exactly. He's not, like, a real hero.
Not yet.
Not yet. Bob is the real hero. The Sentry is just the conduit for the power.
He's Homelander. He's a manufactured hero.
Right. Best source material callback?
I
mean, it's the Sentry. It's like the ambiguous past of the Sentry and his memory loss. Like, just... I imagine Paul Jenkins, because Paul Jenkins was at the premiere and like he was with Louis Pullman, like you gotta imagine he was sitting there like ear to ear grin of like, wow, like this is insane, like they got it, and like they made it, they added like a layer of real, because like the Sentry's origin is one of the coolest origins in like comic book history because it's so innovative. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, essentially what they do with his origin is the Sentry was like in the 50s and 60s, like he's a golden age hero, but something happens. The something is the void comes out, so he needs to shield himself. So essentially what he does is Reed Richards makes that machine to clear everybody's mind, including himself.
And Jake Schreier wanted to use that.
Yes.
But he specifically said because of Spider-Man No Way Home, he couldn't.
Right. So that way, you know,
because Jake Schreier and John Watts are friends, so that's why you may have been confused if you're reading the credits. And one of the credits says special thanks to John Watts. Mm-hmm. That's why. Right. It's not a literal dig at John Watts. It's just a fun thing. Right. Like, thanks. Like, you screwed up my freaking plan. Right.
And then, you know, he comes back and like, but it's still ambiguous. Like, you don't know if he's if he's just this, because like how it plays is like the true origin is like he's just like he's a drug addict that breaks into a lab to try to get, you know, high, and he accidentally stumbles upon the Sentry serum and takes it. Yep. But you don't know which one is the true Sentry origin.
Both of the true
both are the true Sentry origin.
Neither are the true Sentry.
And where did the Void come from? Was the Void always there? Did the Void latch on to Bob in the 60s, or is the Void even real? Like, you don't know. Like, you don't know what.
Well, in this we know the Void is very real.
Yes, and the Void's in all of us. Best NPC in this movie? Oh, it's the military guy. It's the guy.
Holt. Don't do it, Holt.
Can we go lethal? Holt! God!
Holt loves going lethal.
Holt's been practicing for years. I just know Holt is an ex-SHIELD reject. That's like... I finally get to
I know
go
when
lethal.
Holt came back from the Void, he immediately signed up to be on the Anti-Vigilante Task Force.
Oh my gosh, he said, I finally need somewhere where I can go lethal. Agreed upon Holt.
Bro loves lethal.
Favorite action sequence?
I
think it's in the facility.
Yeah, that fight's great. It does exactly what any great superhero fight scene should do, and shows you that these characters are capable, and shows them their unique skill set, which is super important in this movie because...
what do we all punch and shoot?
Yeah, zoom out level, they all kind of have the same power, but there's a differentiation. I like the differentiation between Yelena's fighting style, John's fighting style, Red Guardian's fighting style, and for the brief moment that we see it, Taskmaster's fighting style. Like, they all fight differently, even though they all kind of do the same thing. Right. Like, Red Guardian is more brute force. Mm-hmm. John is more like tactical brute force. Mm-hmm. And then Yelena is all surgical precision. Mm-hmm. And then Taskmaster is like all just... reflex, you know,
and Ghost
memory recall.
Yeah, and Ghost is like not reconnaissance, but it's like
she's like shadow ops.
Exactly. Best musical moment. There's a few because this score is just phenomenal.
There's one point where, and I think the internet will back this up. There's a manipulation on the Avengers theme.
Yep.
That plays, which I really like because that's like the subtle foreshadowing to. They're going to be the Avengers. Right. It's just great. Like, I love when a score can tell a story.
Yep. It's, for me, it's the Not Alone piece where Bob is taking himself out from being in the Void. And they kind of save him. And, you know, we always say they kind of saved him, but he also saved himself, too.
Yes.
Favorite line? Oh, this is like an easy one. What did Val say? Power is... Or righteousness without power is an opinion.
Yeah, she was putting up some numbers. I mean, it's a funny one. Like, it's not like a real one. But I like when Rob goes, "You were Captain America," and John Walker goes, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "You're an asshole."
Favorite world building or lore moment?
Them becoming the new Avengers, I think, is the most impactful lore thing that's happened.
It was the most important heavy lifting that the MCU needed, which you thought you were going to get from Sam Wilson, but they still also do from Sam Wilson in the same movie.
I'm just thinking of lines now, but when Valentina says that they're like, we're led to believe that there are good guys and there are bad guys, but you eventually realize that there's just bad guys and there are worse guys. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, R.I.P. Valentina, you would have loved Joel Miller.
Yeah, you would have loved Joel Miller. About your dad, Valentina. Tough deal. Favorite shot? It's that void shot.
I love that void shot.
Where they're sitting in like I said, that's where you flex that you got the cinematographer from Green Knight. Like, that shot is gorgeous. While they're like, they get into like the last part of the shame rooms, and like he's just sitting there silhouetted, perfectly framed, perfectly graded. This movie it looks like an actual movie. It doesn't look like a product.
Yeah.
Favorite performance, 3, 2, 1, Florence Pugh. Easy.
Louis Pullman, though, man.
Close second.
Very close second. He was incredible.
David Harbour, a close third.
They're all great. Wyatt Russell is incredible. Like, they all brought it.
Favorite character? This is a tough one, man.
Man. I think I'm going to settle on Yelena.
Okay. Man, hot take. I'm still going to stick with John Walker. I mean, he's still in my top 3 favorite additions post-Endgame to the MCU. It's the complexity piece. He's not a simple, digestible character, and I appreciate that. It's not that simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's with Yelena, it's so crazy that, and it's not, I don't think it's anyone's fault, but I feel like I've connected more with that character than I ever did with Natasha.
Yes, yep, there you go. And I'll even take it further than just Natasha, just in terms of characters and like where they stand and who they are and what they've gone through. Like, not to say I was a child assassin like Yelena, but like, same thing, like, she feels like one of the most relatable characters that we've gotten so far.
She feels real. She feels like a real person.
Exactly.
In ways that a lot of the Guardians do.
Which is funny to think about, that they're the ones like, Captain America's, coolness staked on him being Chris Evans as Captain America. Same thing for Thor, same thing for Iron Man. And that was your big 3. Like, I think where the new phase was starting to get right and then they lost a little bit was like where those characters were at and like actually thinking of them as people. Like, not as like these like big bolstered heroes that were no. Like, these are like simple human beings, and like there's complexities and the simplicities, and there's simplicities and the complexities, and how do you handle all those things? And I think Yelena is like one of the best examples of that being executed,
and just came from an unlikely place.
Yeah,
I don't think a lot of obviously you get Florence Pugh, you want to do something with. I don't think anyone expected this character to be what she could be now, which is kind of like the face of a lot of this stuff.
They could, we talked about the post Black Panther pivot that Marvel made. Like, the post Thunderbolts New Avengers pivot that Marvel's going to make is to make sure Florence Pugh is one of the main characters of Secret Wars. Like, they're going to make sure obviously Tom Holland's going to be at the forefront of this. Like, but they're going to pivot to make sure she's up there too. Like, trying to, like, and then the Fantastic Four, they're going to make, like, Pedro Pascal, and they're going to make sure, but like, from the New Avengers half, like, Anthony Mackie will be there, but like, they're probably going to push Florence Pugh a whole lot more. They might
have stumbled into it.
Yeah,
they might have,
and they did it twice.
Yeah.
So, your favorite moment from this movie?
I mean, them helping him at the end.
Agreed. It's the agreed.
Is just incredible.
Yeah.
So that's the Thunderbolts. New Avengers, however you want to call it.
Yep. I rated this movie.
Oh.
Yep. This is my new bit where I rate movies.
Okay.
You have 10 categories, and then those 10 categories are out of 10, and then it'll give it a cinema score at the end.
Oh. Okay.
Directing, I gave it a 9. I think, and you know, you have to scale it a little bit because I know where this is coming from. Like, this isn't like this is a Marvel movie, so like I know where this is coming from. So like, I guess on the Marvel scale, you get into like that 8-9 range. I think Schreier just he has a handle on this. Like, this is his movie. That's how I feel about it, and that's so much appreciated. The cinematography, I gave an 8. Like, in the middle of the movie, especially some of the Val scenes specifically, for some odd reason, start to feel maybe the smallest bit like MCU-ish, if that makes sense, comparatively to the rest of the movie. That's the only thing that knocked it down from being a 9. But like, the thing that got it back up to an 8 is like, you get those some of these shots in these movies you're just like gushing over. Acting, it's a 9. Like, this is one of the best acted,
I agree with that,
Marvel movies that we've gotten. And that was what the early reviews were saying, that these performances are remarkable. The writing, I gave an 8 in terms of like the Marvel scale, if you want to use that as well too. And it's just the themes, like to kind of execute, like, how do you execute theme? It's through the character. That's the only way the theme, like, somebody has to live through it. So, the editing, I gave a 9 on that Marvel scale. Like, this movie is edited tightly. Like, they're not going to flex the editor. Like, you get an editor in the absolute trailer. Like, they did that for a reason. This movie is edited very well. Sound, I gave it a 7. Like, it's standard. Like, this is pretty solid. Like, the sound mix is good. Like, it's nothing like, it's not like Oppenheimer's sound mix, you know what I mean? Like, it's good. Like, it's good. Story, I gave it an 8, like, on that Marvel scale as well too. Like, this is an 8. Like, this is a good story. Like, you know, we talk about story, like Top Gun, we always use Top Gun as like our North Star. When you talk, like, what's the story of this movie? Old fighter pilot has one last chance to teach team. He has to lead team into the mission. That's Top Gun Maverick. This movie's story is band of misfit assassins have to work together to save Bob. That's the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Production design, I gave it an 8. Like, this movie, like, the actual, there's sets. We're not in some CGI place like the Quantum Realm. Like, these are actual sets.
Yeah,
people move in the spaces.
A movie like that, or like Love and Thunder, and it's
night and day.
It's night and day, yeah.
Theme 9. Like, this is one of the best thematic pieces that I've ever seen the MCU use, to use mental health as a crutch for this movie. I don't even want to say crutch. I use this as a springboard. It's phenomenal. And then the score itself, it's a 10. Like, this is one of the single best scores inside of the MCU. Point blank, period. Son Lux is going to get all the work after this. Which brings us to an 86% on the cinema score.
86. That's pretty good.
I'd
say that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Any last thoughts on the Thunderbolts?
No, I mean, I think this, it feels nice to, like, see a movie through all the way. When it was announced, we were like, this could be fun. And then we started getting like the cast and crew together, and we were like, okay, this could be something. And then that first trailer, we were like,
yes. I said, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Does
this movie have color grading? Wait a second.
That first trailer came out, and we were like, oh, this could be special. And then coming out of having seen it, like, it was that. And regardless of how it ends up doing at the box office, I hope it's easy for me to say because it's not my money, but like, I hope they look at how this movie was received, not just by like the hardcore fans, but like people who like movies, and they see how those people are receiving this movie and want to do more of that.
Yes. And
it feels like they are.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Loki, Wakanda Forever is like a special circumstance. You look at Guardians 3, which I guess in its own way, it's a different why, but it's like its own special it was like, that was James Gunn's last love letter to Marvel. And like, you know, we talk about Wakanda or Black Panther. The first was the Guardians to get them there. Like, Guardians was the first springboard to be like, no, we're bulletproof. You guys don't understand.
Yeah.
This movie goes back to the other half of that, of like, no, this is just a good movie. Like, that's in the confines of the MCU. It supersedes that. This is just a good movie. Yeah. Front to back.
And it feels like they are going that direction, because I think we both agree that Fantastic Four has even maybe more going for it than what this movie had.
Yeah, I think after seeing this, and like, obviously, I even hate to use the word underperforming, because some movies would kill to get the first 45 seconds of the box office return that this movie got.
Yeah.
But I think Fantastic Four has a very good chance to make $1 billion. Like, I truthfully think that you have Pedro Pascal leading that movie. It's the Fantastic Four. It's the last movie before the big team-up movie.
And Thunderbolts, too, is battling a cinematic juggernaut. Not juggernaut, but it's battling a kind of an unexpected box office performer with Sinners.
Yeah, and people are going back to see Sinners and going, but it's, it's a tough spot to be in. So, but, at the end of the day, the beauty of it is not looking at it from a capitalistic lens. It's looking at it from a cinematic and an enjoyment lens. Like,
that's
what a freaking time to be alive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I hope, I hope this movie does well enough, but I also hope that the box office isn't the end all be all, where Marvel looks at this movie, you only made X amount of money.
No more.
Yeah, people really liked this movie.
Yeah.
And liked the message and liked what it was about. So, yeah, do more of that. I guess would be my party message regarding this movie. That's going to do it for us this week. That was a great time. You can follow us on Twitter at @ProjectINF_pod. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube and TikTok at the Project Infinite Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram.
That's the Project Infinite Pod.
Next week, we're going to talk about Andor.
Yeah, apparently, because they're doing the arcs. Apparently, because we're 7, 8, 9 just came out, and then next week it will be 9, 10, 11, 12. That will be it. But apparently, episodes 7, 8, and 9, people are saying it's not only in Star Wars, it's not only for Disney, but this is some of the greatest television just ever. And that sounds hyperbolic, but I keep hearing it. I keep looking, and people are no, you don't understand. These episodes are just they're them. He's him.
Yeah. So next week we'll definitely be talking about Andor. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking about Andor because, man, special show.
Yeah.
Again, much like the Thunderbolts. I mean, we talked about it when we talked about Andor season 1. Just did not expect it to be what it is.
No, but I mean, the through line, let the creators cook.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Andor next week. Thunderbolts is in the book. Next Marvel project is Fantastic Four.
Wow. No, it's Ironheart, actually.
Oh, yes. Ironheart comes out in June.
Which will be running, how many episodes? 6 episodes? So it'll probably end right before Fantastic Four comes out.
I have a bizarre feeling that they're just going to drop that whole series.
They could.
At once.
Which I feel bad for Dominic Thornback if they do that, because I feel like she deserves more.
Yeah. It just feels like...
I feel like Riri Williams deserves more.
It just feels like that's...
Why are they... I told you what I think happened. Mm-hmm. I think that Jonathan Majors was heavily in that show as whoever his corporate variant is. Mm-hmm. And I think they had to trash 80% of the show and rework it. Yeah.
So I just feel like Ironheart is kind of part of that old guard, 2020s.
It doesn't look bad, though. It actually looks pretty good.
Bad, but I think it, just conception-wise and execution-wise, it feels like part of, the content mm-hmm. kind of arc that Marvel was on for a while. And it just feels like that they're done with that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, through Daredevil, through Fantastic Four, Captain America 4, kind of, sort of. Captain America 4 was kind of, in the middle. Mm-hmm. A mismatch of those things. Right. And Ironheart was definitely part of that early, we're pumping content.
Yeah, I mean, they shot that show 3 years ago.
Yeah. So I don't know, it just feels like they want to... I don't think they want that show to come out and, the season finale be, the week before the Fantastic Four.
It's going to get nuked. Unless they put something directly with... But why would they?
Why would they, right. So I think there's a possibility that they either, A, drop the whole series or drop episodes in bunches.
They could do 2-2-2 because it's 6 episodes, I'm presuming.
Yeah. So they could do 2 and 2. I think they might do instead of doing it across. Because Daredevil didn't even do across 9 weeks.
No,
they did 2 and then 1-1, and then they did the 2
mm-hmm.
and then
1-1.
Yeah,
right.
So I think it's entirely possible they just drop that whole thing Netflix style,
right? Or
they section it up,
right?
So yeah, so Ironheart, then the Fantastic Four. Yeah, so we're still in the crux of some pretty good stuff. The Last of Us is obviously ongoing, wrapping up in 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. The Last of Us sucks that it goes so quick.
Yeah.
So that's it. we are done for the day, for the week. Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going through a tough time, don't be afraid to ask for some help. I think that's what this movie taught a lot of people. And so it's all right. Mm-hmm. It's there. It gets dark, but you can get out of it. Mm-hmm. So, never thought a Marvel movie would get here. I just never thought so.
Yeah. No, for real. It's yeah, exactly. I think this movie resonates with a lot of people in a lot of different ways, which is super important. So for me, from the...
Right, you're going to say Red Guardian.
No, I wasn't going to say Red Guardian.
You're going to say Bob.
You're too old to be Red Guardian. You're too young to be Red Guardian.
Which makes me perfect candidate to be Bob.
Say the Bucky Barnes of the podcast.
I'm still old. I'm older than Red Guardian. What are you talking about?
No, well, yeah, technically. But Bucky's cool.
Is he cool?
Yeah, he's real cool.
I thought you were going to give me Bob.
No. There's a lot going on there.
I was on meth. He said, Bob, if your chicken self punches me one more time, I'm going to lose it. I was on meth.
Yeah, the Bucky Barnes of the podcast. Great head of hair. You know?
They did yassify Bucky's hair.
Man, he showed up at the end in that post-credit scene. I was like, whoa.
He went to whatever Spider-Man's hair guy in between Homecoming and Infinity War.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, Bucky became an Avenger, and now he's him.
Yeah, who's the stylist for that team?
Who's the stylist for the Avengers? It's what's her name?
Who?
The Val's person.
No, it's Luke Jacobs.
It would be Luke Jacobs.
It would be Luke Jacobs.
Goodbye, disaster. That guy was hilarious.
Yeah, he was.
That guy was tremendous. You use jet fuel in your rocket boots?
Idiot. Man, imagine Tim Roth as the Abomination with this crew.
That would have been fun.
I think it would have been a fun, full circle moment.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
You know who you would have related to the most? John. I also am that soldier. That just is just following orders.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been cool.
And maybe keep Taskmaster alive?
Taskmaster. R.I.P. Taskmaster. You were a real one.
Well, I hope by the time they get to Doomsday, they add more members. They add 2 or 3 members that are from around the MCU.
Yeah.
Because you can just murder them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
The entire multiverse is going to end and they're going to
redo everything.
Yeah, so it doesn't even matter.
That's true.
So they're going to kill the woke Avengers that you're so angry about.
Oh, man. The woke Avengers.
Shuri would be on the woke Avengers. Captain Marvel.
Hey, man. You said it, not me.
The woke Avengers is a bit, y'all. It's a bit. Don't take it seriously on that.
Hey, look, they made themselves woke.
No, they're going to think you're being serious. The woke Avengers.
All right, we're getting out of here, man. See you next week. We're going to talk about Andor. It's probably going to be depressing.
And the best show ever.
Yep, both of those things. Until then, goodbye.
Peace.